One. And we are live. And boy, do I mean we are live. This might be one of the most epic shows K&K has ever done. Who knows what's going on? Beelan has the first comment saying, fellas, good evening. I can't wait to get my paws on Kurt later. Get that popcorn. Why is he coming after me? He should be coming after the guy in red, not me.
He doesn't want me to come to his house. That's why.
Well, here we go. K&K show. Kurt Valenti, Kenny Kirkpatrick, Mr. Siciliano, and I'm going to start out with this. What a friggin' bad week did we have. My Broncos lost. My Auburn lost. Kenny, Sis, and Paul's Giants lost. And yes, Sis's Alabama Crimson Tide got beat at A&M. And Beelan saying, and let me say to this too, go Bulldogs. And oh my, I have no idea what's going to happen on this show. Mr. Kirkpatrick, give me an opening thought.
Opening thought is may have to mute everybody in the 9 o'clock hour because it's going to be, it's called, you know what? I'm going to rename tonight's show to Wednesday, not Wednesday, Wednesday.
Well,
VENSDAY.
Right out of the gate.
Wednesday.
Right out of the gate, Mr. Beelan. Did someone say they were going to cut my grass with scissors?
Yep. And if he gets too smart tonight, I'll take a ride up after the show.
Oh, Mr. Beelan's going to like this because I have the line of the night last week and I listened to the show. I don't have the recording. I can go back. If you go back and listen to last week's show, I got a question for Sis. How big is the loan you took out? You said, I'll take a loan out that Alabama beats A&M.
And I also said I would cut Beelan's lawn with a scissors.
How big was the loan that you needed?
I remember what I said.
Beelan saying, sis, I will have some gabagool ready for you. But you know what, sis, let's get right to it. We're going to talk about it later, but me and you were texting. I mean, what's going on, sis? You're still in your red. You're still in your red, but what's going on?
I'm not, again, the sun came up the next day. They got beat, plain and simple. It's like everything else. Now it's a new week, and they got another tough game.
Now, our guy, the money man, Carson Shears, saying you got this. Hello, Carson and Ticket Time.
Carson,
what's up, Carson?
Everybody go check out Carson on Ticket Time YT on Twitch. He'll be on 8:30 this evening, and usually stays on till around midnight, 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Great casino content. And we will catch you tomorrow on Wits and Wagers, Carson. And I'll see if Mr. Siciliano is up for it after the show tonight. Maybe we can introduce him to Twitch and see if we can get on your show later.
And real quick, by the way, I want to get to this because this came from Ryan. And when Ryan sends some sports info, this has to get on the show.
Oh, your brother?
Ryan, yeah. He
oh
sent
my
this.
God, this ought to be great.
And he sent this, and this just came in. I didn't see this. It was from 1 o'clock today. Pete Rose rips into Joey Gallo after the Yankee playoff disappointment. And here's what Pete Rose said. That was the worst effing lineup they could have put on the field. Their 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters were all out men. They had to have Judge and Stanton do something. If they didn't, all of the pressure was on Joey Gallo. You saw how that worked out. How does someone who didn't play every day strike out 213 times? Ray Charles wouldn't strike out that much. I just can't imagine striking out 213 times without killing myself. So Pete Rose is throwing a bullet at the Yankees right out of the gate.
Wow.
So Ryan gave us some good information.
Pete Rose isn't banned from this show.
No, we should try to get Pete Rose. We should try to get Pete Rose on Wits and Wages, Kenny.
Was that?
We should try to get him on Wits and Wages.
I will definitely. Yeah.
Why not?
That's the last show he'll want to
Why
come on.
not? All right, let's do this. I got a bunch of quick hitters. We're going to make this fast-paced answers because I got 10 and I got 10 minutes to get these done. So here we go. Quick answers. Sis, I'm starting with you. Tomorrow night, game 5. Who wins, Dodgers or Giants?
Dodgers.
Kenny.
Going the other way, Giants.
I'm going
They've been my
Dodgers
team
with
all year.
Sis. I'm with Sis. Kenny, back to you. American League Championship Series. Astros or Red Sox? Who's going to win it?
Yankee fans' worst nightmare. I got to go with the Astros. I can never go with the Red Sox.
Who's going to win it, Sis?
I'm going to go Red Sox.
I'm going to go with, you know where I'm going, Kenny. I'm going with the Astros. Sis, I'm going to come back to you. Do you think it's fair that the two best teams in baseball, who both had over 104 wins, had to play each other in the divisional round, and one of them now is going to be eliminated?
No, we talked about that. I mean, the Dodgers won 106 games. It's got to come down to one game. I mean, they won it, but to me, that's totally ridiculous. There's got to be a better setup, better system. That's
Kenny.
just me, though.
I agree with Sis. There's got to be a better system. But remember a few years back, remember last year, Washington football team, they got a home game with a 7-9 record, just like Seattle did a few years back because they won their division over the Saints.
Yeah.
You know, 7-9 record, they get a home game. They need to change it when two teams have 100 wins. That they shouldn't have been playing each other in the first round.
All right. Number 4, Kenny. How many minutes will tonight's show go over our 2-hour limit?
Three answers, quick ones. If Sis is running it, we'd be on time. If I was running it, we'd be 10 minutes over. But when you run it and Mr. Beelin joins us, you guys go a half hour over the time limit.
Eddie Murphy said 10 minutes. Sis, how many minutes we're going to go over time tonight?
At least a half hour with Beelan on the show.
All right. The next quick hitter comes courtesy of Jenny Hoop. She has a great 2-part question. All right. I'm going to ask you first, Kenny. We're going to go start. Lynn Marie. Lynn Marie's checking in, saying 10 minutes. And Sis, what do you got to say to Lynn Marie?
Congratulations to your Eagles, my friend. They finally won a game.
Beelan's saying a little under 15 minutes. But this is from Jenny Hoops. It's called Start, Sit, and Cut. 2-part question. I'm going to give you 3 quarterbacks. You got to tell me. Oh, Mike Rago is asking where Joey Clams. Joey Clams comes on Thursdays with the picks. Joey Clams is on Thursday with us, Mike. But you can watch this show because we got a lot of stuff going on. So I'm going to give you 3 quarterbacks. Out of these 3, you got to tell me which one you're going to start, which one you're going to sit, and which one you're going to cut. Here we go. Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. Kenny.
So this is the scenario is just I got these 3 quarterbacks. I could start one, sit one, cut one.
Yes.
No holds barred. I'm going Mahomes because he won. Mahomes is my starter because he won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna sit Lamar. I'm gonna sit Kyler Murray. I'm gonna cut Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson has had injuries and hasn't won a playoff game yet.
Okay. So same question. Mahomes, Murray, Jackson. You start one, you sit one, you cut one.
Starting Murray, sitting Mahomes, cutting Jackson.
All right, we're going to do one more with those were the upper quarterbacks. We're going to do one more, same way.
What's yours, by the way?
That way I would go Mahomes, sit Murray, cut Jackson.
Like me, okay.
Like you. And the next, we're going to do the same thing, Sis. I'll start with you. Start, sit, cut. Big Ben, Carson Wentz, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Big Ben, Carson Wentz, and Jimmy.
Yeah. Who would you start? Who do you sit? Who do you cut?
I think that's pretty easy. Big Ben, sit Carson, cut Garoppolo.
Okay, couple things. Eddie Murphy saying, if you go over 10 minutes, do I get a Texas A&M shirt? LOL. Eddie Murphy's coming at. Lynn Marie saying she's cutting Wentz. Eddie Murphy saying Big Ben, Wentz, and cut Jimmy. Kenny.
I agree with the start. I'm going to start Ben.
Yep.
I'm going to sit Garoppolo because he's gotten that team to a Super Bowl. I'll cut Wentz because he's done absolutely nothing, and he's struggling over there in Indianapolis.
Blew a 22-point lead Monday night.
I'm going same thing. Big Ben starts, Wentz sits, and I'm cutting Garoppolo. All right, Kenny. After 5 weeks of this year of the NFL, after 5 weeks, right now you have the number one pick in football in the draft. We're going to redraft. You have the number one pick. Who would you draft first? Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, or Justin Fields?
I'm going to say Trevor Lawrence. I think he's gonna be all right.
I'm with you. I'm going Trevor Lawrence. Sis, what about you?
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence.
All right. Kenny, I got to come back to you. Actually, I'm going to start this one. And the audience, please play along with this one, Eddie. What were Sis's exact words as he watched Texas A&M's kicker make that field goal? I'm going to start it off. When he watches that football go through the posts, he says, "You got to be effing kidding me." Kenny, what were his words?
What were his words? His words were, "Great. Now I gotta effing cut Beelan's grass with a scissor."
And Sis, what is the answer? What were your words when you saw the field goal go get good?
I'm going to be straight up with you.
No, go ahead. I got a better one.
No, as soon as they lined up, I said the game's over. That's exactly what I said.
You know what Sis said? Did Lane Kiffin hack my TV?
That's a good one.
All right, Sis, I'm going to start with you on this. And I don't know if Coach Breslin's watching yet, but I hope he's not because I don't know if he wants to hear this. Rutgers is 0-3 in conference play. They've scored 39 points in those 3 games, and they've given up 103. Are you disappointed in them, Sis?
No, they're the same old Rutgers.
Oh, there's Coach Breslin saying he is here just in time. So I'll ask Kenny, I'll ask you and Coach Breslin. I want you, again, 3 conference games, 39 points scored, gave up 103. They're 0-3 in those games. Kenny, are you disappointed in Rutgers?
Disappointed by the blowouts. I think we all got a little up with their hot start. Maybe it was definitely a little overachieving, looked like weaker opponents, but to answer it in quick hitter style, I would say yes. I'm disappointed by the outcomes getting blown out the way they did against Ohio State. That's uncalled for.
All right, Coach Breslin saying no, they're not ready to compete with the big boys yet. 2 more, guys. All right, I'm going to start with Kenny. You can pick one coach for your college basketball team. You're going to start from the beginning of the year, and you're going to have this coach for one whole season from the beginning of the year all the way through the NCAA tournament with your goal to win the whole thing. You could pick one of these coaches. John Wooden, Coach K, John Calipari, Bobby Knight, Tom Izzo, Hoops' Tony Bennett, Rick Pitino, or other. Carson's all over it already. He's saying Tom Izzo. Who are you picking, Kenny?
It would be John Wooden, but because I've never seen him coach, I'm going to eliminate him just by the guys I've seen coached. And I'm going with our boy Carson. I love Mr. Tom Izzo there in Michigan State.
Jenny Hoops is chiming in with her orange and blue heart, saying Tony Bennett. Sis?
No, you're taking Tony Bennett. Go ahead.
I'm not taking Tony Bennett. I'm going to shock you, and I'm going to pick somebody who I didn't put on this list.
Let's do sisters, though, first.
Okay, Sis, Coach Breslin's saying Calipari. Where are you going, Sis?
I seen the guy coach. It's definitely John Wooden. hands down.
All right.
You guys are all too young for that.
I didn't have him on the list. But then Hoop said to me, why don't you put him on? And I said, you know what? Not only am I putting him on, I'm taking him. Mr. Rick Pitino. Pound for pound, I'm
That's a
going
good
to
one.
war
Can I
with him.
change my mind real
Sure.
quick? Bobby Knight.
Okay.
Just wanting to play for him, old school like Sis is. Just throwing the chairs out on the court. Oh man.
Bill Rafferty.
All right. And here's the last one. And
Eddie Murphy saying, "Isn't Tony a singer?"
Yes, Antonia Singer. Here's the last one. For a month, I want to explain this to the audience. I want to explain this to Sis. For over a month now, and this has to do with All In on High School Sports, but for over a month now, Kenny has guaranteed that he will be reporting live from this week's Northern Huntingtown High School football game in Maryland. When I mean reporting live, he's going to be there, shooting up texts, putting some tweets out. He's going to be there live. So, Sis, two-part question. First part, what are Amari saying? What's up, fellas? What's up, Amari?
Hey, Mario, what's up, bud?
Sis, what are the odds that he will be at that game?
On Saturday?
Friday night.
Sis, it's 15 minutes away, so you know.
Well, with that statement, I'm going to say he's going to be there.
So you're see, I'm going 80-1. I'm going right out of the gate. I'm going 80-1.
Wow.
And here, John Beelan's saying 62%. And here's the second part of the question before Kenny could answer. What BS excuse will he give when he is a no-show? Jenny Hoops came after Mr. Kirkpatrick a little tonight and said he went to the wrong location. There was an accident, and then when he tried to get to the new place, there was an accident with traffic, and he couldn't get to the other field.
Wow.
I'm going to throw this one out.
Jenny really wanted to
I'm
get
throwing
there.
this one out at Kenny. Okay, here's mine. He gets to the game's there. He arrives, and the grass is cut off, right? The grass is, it's boarded off, like roped off. What's the matter? They just put pesticides. No fans can go on. Only the people on the field. So he's going to be able to watch. He can't see it. He's too far. He doesn't want to give wrong information. So he couldn't go because of the pesticide on the field. John Beelan saying he had to babysit the dog again. And Eddie's saying he got an imaginary cold. So those are the excuses. Now let's ask the real guy. What are the odds you're going to be at this game, Mr. Kirkpatrick?
Odds I'll be at the game. I'm going to say 2-1. You want to know why 2-1? I'm going to give you why the 2-1 odds, not even money odds. Northern's game last week against Calvert. That's who Huntingtown played first week of the year. They beat them pretty well. Calvert's like 3-2 or 2-3. Capacity about 45 minutes before the game, nobody can get in. That's first one. Number two, there's only one road to get to the stadium. So if there is an accident, you're going to look at capacity. I might be late getting there capacity, but I'm going. So I promise you I'm going. But now, real quick, because we're a couple minutes late for NFL, now he opened it up for me, Mr. Siciliano. And now I come after him and Jenny Hoops if she's listening.
Eddie Murphy's saying, so Kenny, you need to go 2 hours before the game. Get there early.
All right. Now here is where I come after Mr. Valenti and Mrs. Valenti, if she's listening. You have a high school show on Tuesdays, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you have a nice little show you do there on Tuesdays. You do a recap show on Fridays. High school games Fridays and Saturdays. How many games have you and Jen been to this year?
We've been to Ramapo, West Essex. Well, went to or watched?
Went to, not watched.
Well, we watch, but when we watch, we can stream.
Not watched. I want to know how many you went to.
Hoops, 2 or 3.
You should be going to at least one every week.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Why go? If I go to one, we're limited to one. when we could be home and we could watch 3 and 4, then we could broadcast. I have a better answer to do it. So this week we will be
my
at
answer
Beckton Heights.
to that would be better to do a show live in person.
Well, but that's different. We can't
Right,
broadcast
sis?
the game.
I think you got him there. Yeah, I think you got him there.
Oh, okay. We'll take it.
Yep.
Hoops will be all over. Hoops is going to chime in for Kenny and get.
Well,
Kenny
you're going to a game this week, though.
We're
So
going
that's
this week. We're
Yeah,
going.
big game this week, Heights Beckton.
Yep.
I want to know
You're not going to the Pro Wheels game?
Well, Eddie
Chris, on
Murphy.
tomorrow's show, this is for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to get Carson involved. What's Kurt's excuse going to be for Heights Beckton why he couldn't go?
Okay, I'll take it. Eddie
We're
Murphy.
going to come back at him tomorrow, sis. Get your excuse ready for Kurt.
Eddie Murphy's saying, well, technically he's saying you could stream from your phone while at game. I agree, Kenny. Get to talk to the coaches and players that they have interviewed. Okay. All right, Kenny, let's go.
He opened it up.
Let's go.
Coach Breslin, Coach Sis, he opened it up after.
And here's my last thing. If Kenny doesn't go to hunting.
After the show with Jimmy Hoops.
Yep. All right, so that was my quick, Kenny, that's my quick hitters for the night. What do you think?
Love it.
Okay.
So, going to get into some NFL, I think, Kurt. And then we got Paul coming in to join us for the Giants talk after that.
Okay.
But I'm going to shorten the NFL out because I know Sis has something later for NFL. So I got a couple topics for NFL. I know Paul's going to hit on the Giants, but I do want to talk about let's start with one of the big injuries that happened in the NFL this past week, and that was Thursday night's game. Seattle lost Russell Wilson. That injury, did you see his finger, the way it looked? Did you guys see that? What his finger looked like?
Yeah.
By the way, real quick, Kenny, Coach Breslin, absolutely. Greg Mature is from Varsity Aces. He's on our sidelines.
It's awesome. Well, I was going to say Russell Wilson, big injury. Geno Smith, quarterback in there now to at least week 10, sis. Is this the spot you think Seattle goes out and gives Cam Newton a shot? Or do they roll with Geno Smith?
They roll
the dice with Geno Smith.
Yeah, they roll the dice with Geno Smith.
What do you think, Kurt?
I think the same thing. Like, I don't think they're going to change their offense like right now. It'd be so hard to do. I mean, again, Cam Newton's not going to run what Seattle's running. They're going to have to change that whole offense to fit Cam Newton. I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to roll with him. And again, I heard a little birdie over in some Denver radio this week that don't be shocked that Russ might never take another snap for Seattle. And the talk in Denver this week is the offensive coordinator from Buffalo, Mr. Dable. Is it Dable? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Along with Russ next year. So a lot of people are saying he may be done in Seattle, but I think they roll with Geno.
Well, here's my next question with it. Their record's what, 2-3?
2-3.
Realistically, let's say they're after he's coming back week 10. Let's say they're 4-6. Just speaking, 4-6. Arizona with their hot start, they have them and the Rams. This is just throwing this is out there what their records are going to be. Rams and Cardinals fighting for first place, 8-2. 49ers, just like Seattle, struggling with injuries, 3-7, 4-6 around that range. Do you then say, like you just said, does that mean that's it for Russell Wilson, or are you bringing him back in week 10 with nothing to play for, and you can just start playing with some of your kids? You're already 4 games back. Your chances of getting into the playoffs slim to none. What do you do? What do you do with Russell Wilson? Do you let him play out the year, risk another injury, or do you try and see what you can do with him? Do you let him walk?
Eddie Murphy saying Geno didn't look that bad, wasn't great, but wasn't bad either. Beelan saying Killer Cam will sign in 2 weeks. Again, with this extra, with the 17 games, with the extra wild card team, if they're you're talking there's still 7 games and you're 2 games out. I think they will try to play him. I mean, now if they don't win a game and they're like, then maybe tanking is the answer for them. But I can't see Seattle not winning a game for 7 weeks. So, but I think if they're in any kind of hunt, they'll bring them back. Our great friend Mark Calderio saying hello. Good evening, gents.
Hey,
How are
Mark,
things? I've been
how's
very
What's up,
busy.
Mark?
I'm gonna let Sis go. I just want to say one thing. But you got to remember something. They don't have the defense to carry that team, in my opinion. So you may be looking at a 4-6, 3-7 team after 10 weeks. And then I don't know what I'm doing. Like you said, do you want to tank? I don't think that's in Seattle's minds, but you never know. Pete Carroll might be like, yeah, we need to rebuild.
Oh,
just
you know
like
what?
us.
Beelin's making a great point. I would love for them to tank. Jets will have 2 top 10. That's right. They're in that trade because of the Jamal
Oh
Adams.
yeah, that's right. Just like the Giants have 2 picks.
Yeah. So
Yep.
you know what? They're not tanking, and they'll play Russ. They're not going to tank.
What do you think over there in Seattle, Sis? Like overall, do you think you said Gino's going to play, but do you think Russ comes back after week 10, or do they ease him in maybe more like a week 12 if they're 3-7?
Yeah, I think for sure Russell Wilson will play again this year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Another team I want to hit on.
By the way,
injuries.
Mr. Calderio's throwing in Go Michigan. Hey, keep
He is
riding it,
already.
Mark.
College football talk in the next hour, Mark.
Yeah.
Hang around. The next team I want to get into injuries because we got Paul coming on in a couple minutes. San Francisco 49ers, Kurt. Year after year after year, Jimmy Garoppolo. Of course, they lost Raheem Mostert, the running back. Now George Kittle's back on the IR. Who's next? I'm not trying to jinx anybody. Deebo Samuel, because he's another one that's always hurt. Is the defense going to start getting the injury bug? Joey Bosa, et cetera, et cetera. Like, what's going on over there, Kurt? Do you roll with Lance, or does Garoppolo come back? Lance didn't have a good performance against Arizona. What happens when Garoppolo's ready to come back? Is it Lance or is it Garoppolo? Would be my first question. And when is enough for injuries? Who do you blame? Just like we had with the Giants last week, talking about their injuries. And I know we're going to get into Giants injuries in a couple minutes, but who's to blame? It's every year. The same guys.
It's ridiculous. And I want to throw a stat out that I heard last week, because one of the coaches you always hear that is on the hot seat and who should get fired is Mr. Matt Nagy, right? Matt Nagy is 31-22 as head coach of the Chicago Bears. Kyle Shanahan is 31-38. I will say this. I will walk to Denver to bring him to Denver, but he has 100% underachieved with San Francisco, because you know what? Injuries of this, injuries of that. By our way, our good friend Intercept Your Lunch Marty saying, gotta bring Jimmy back. Lance is too raw, making him move. That will make, he needs more time. I agree. If you're going to try to get to a playoff right now and that's your goal, I'm going to play Garoppolo. If the season's out of whack, put Lance in right now. But Lance looks very young. I don't know. I again, where are they? Like, are you talking next week? Because I'm going to go Garoppolo until I'm out of it. When I'm close to out of it, I'm going with Lance.
Sis, what are your thoughts on the whole situation over there, San Fran?
Yeah, I agree with Marty. You go with Jimmy. I don't think this kid's ready, and it's not a bad thing. He's a rookie. And you go as far as you can go. And like Curtis said, once you're to the promised land and you're not going to be in the playoffs, then put the kid back on the field. So that's my take on that. Yep.
My opinion on the whole thing, Kirk.
Real quick, Eddie Murphy, do all these injuries go back to training camp being soft, not like it was years ago with two-a-days? Beelan saying Kurt is going to rack up miles this year. He's going to Denver to bring Shanahan, going to Denver to stop paying Teddy. Get those walking shoes.
Love it. Love it. My last thing on it will be just like everybody's saying, to answer Eddie's question, I think you do have to blame some of the training camp thing. We're going to be talking Giants in about 2 minutes and bringing Paul in. Giants soft training camp. They didn't play a lot of guys. Everybody sat. Slow start, and now you're seeing injuries. I know some of these injuries you can't avoid. Daniel Jones concussion. Barkley stepped on somebody's foot and he got a sprained ankle. But Andrew Thomas at practice, Kenny Galladay now, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, I think some of these training camps being soft are affecting the injuries. And I don't know what the San Francisco 49ers training camp, how they run their training camp, but it's every year with them. Maybe they need to change something up.
Yeah.
All right. And then, but you blame the offense. That team is underachieving. Where's their defense this year?
Yep.
They're supposed to have a great defense. Where is it? So you know what? You can have Kyle Shanahan over in Denver because I think he's very overrated. And we can get into that later on if we have time. If not, we'll save that for another day. Some overrated head coaches and some underrated head coaches in the NFL. It'll be a nice little topic. Maybe we'll do that next week or later on tonight.
Two things leading into Paul's segment. Eddie Murphy, Giants better be smart and keep Daniel Jones out this week against the Rams. Mark saying everybody is hurt with hamstring and knee injuries. Horrible with the Giants.
You guys have anything else NFL-wise? Well, NFL-wise, we're going to stick with NFL with Giants, and then we're going to go Broncos. But I'm going to bring Paul in for a Giants segment. Giants part of the show.
Okay.
And there's Mr. Rosen. How are we doing tonight, Paul?
All right, gentlemen, good evening.
What's going on,
How's
Paul?
that?
Thank you for joining us
First-
again.
What's up?
First-
How's your mother
pleasure.
doing, Paul?
Two
thank
things.
you.
First,
Yeah,
you got to
thank you
ask
for-
about your mom.
Thank
How's
you.
mom doing?
First of all, thank you for asking. She's doing amazingly. I've seen her about 4 or 5 times so far, and it's incredible. 86 years old, and
That's awesome.
she's going to outlive us all. So, yeah, God bless, and I really appreciate the.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great news. Great
And then
news.
What kind of barbershop do you go to out there? Your hair is like really groomed tonight.
I need a haircut.
Do you use,
I gotta-
do you use spray?
No, I don't. And I got to tell you, my amazing, beautiful wife, Luby, after COVID came in,
Right.
started cutting my hair. And
Great job.
yeah, thank you. I'll certainly let her know.
You got more hair than me.
And my second one, for those who don't know, Paul was the Iron Man. Posted some pictures of what was
Yeah,
that
that
last
was
year?
awesome.
Great pictures there that you had on there. Congratulations, Dad,
You
again.
guys are too much. Thank you
That
so
was
much
awesome,
for
yeah.
Yeah,
the acknowledgement.
congratulations, Paul.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
so
you.
again, Paul
That's a great
does.
accomplishment. Yep.
So it's week 5. It's week 5 was last week, Paul. We brought you on. It's your Giants segment. Kurt has the notes written down. He's going to talk to you mostly, and then the questions. Because we want you to get your insight, and then if there's anything that Sis and I will add, we'll add to it. The questions you have, we'll answer as well. Kurt has them.
Well, a couple of
I-
things. A couple of things, guys. John Beelan is saying, "I can't wait to hear these grades this week." LOL. And Bobby Blackjack is. I think Bobby Blackjack is working with Beelan behind the scenes tonight because he's. Listen to this comment. Your contract states the wearing of Alabama hats are prohibited after a loss. Sis.
Tell Blackjack, what's today, Wednesday, to get in his car tomorrow on Thursday to go up to Bergen Catholic and set up his stereo equipment so he can do that show.
This is feisty today. This is feisty.
He's not used to a loss. That's what it is.
And we got one more comment from Lynn. I have to sign off. Another great show, gentlemen. Thank you, Eddie, for the high five on my Eagles. Next, you are going to high five me when the Eagles play the Giants. Then you better wear an Eagles hat. Everybody's coming at Sis tonight.
Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon.
Everyone's on
here.
Sis.
Oh yeah.
All right, so
All
here's-
bandwagon jumpers.
So
You got
these
that
are
right.
I'm gonna go with a quick round table. I'm gonna try to get this all in. These are Paul's words, and I loved how he started it off. Giants versus Cowboys, a quote unquote woodshed game, as Sis would be so astute to say. Not only was it another embarrassing loss, the Giants lost many key players to injuries. So, first question, Paul. Did the Giants lose because of A, their defense, B, their offense, where Garrett's play calling, C, injuries, D, coaching, or E, Dallas was just playing better?
All right. I'm going to answer it by this way. Remember when we were in school and they had those pie charts where they had
percentage,
and they had sort of like square little pies. My pie chart's going to be 98.9% defense, and then all the other things that I listed were in the rest of them. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but the defense was horrible, and that's, to me, what caused this game to be lost.
Mr. Kirkpatrick.
I can't disagree with Paul. The defense lost that to us. We were in the game with the backups. You know, all those injuries we lost, we're going to get into it, but, you know, Kendavius Toney showed up, and, you know, Devontae Booker wasn't terrible, and, you know, everybody says Glennon was bad, but Glennon did what a backup quarterback's supposed to do for the most part. You know, he moved the ball a little bit. Defense, plain and simple, 100%.
Sis, what about you?
I agree with Paul. Secondary got toasted.
See, I think obviously the defense, but I just think Dallas was playing better too. I mean, Dallas is good. You know, you guys know me with Dak, but, you know, this team, if they play the way they are, they ran another, I think they had another 200 yards rushing. I mean, if you run the ball in the NFL, you're going to have a shot to win a championship. And listen, they're doing it better than anybody right now.
I agree with that, but disagree with Dallas playing better because the Giants had Dallas on the ropes. We just dropped interceptions. Dak was not looking good early in that game.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I don't want to say Dallas played better than us. I don't want to say that.
The defense, once again.
All due respect. You know, yeah, they got the win, but I don't think they 100% played better than us. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
We're all
the
entitled.
defense, once again, gave up that last touchdown in the first half. For every game, they've given up touchdowns at the end of the half, at the end of the game, and you just it's you know, same song, different week, and you just can't do that.
All right, so this is a question where, again, it's great on radio, and let's try to be realistic here. And again, like, you know, this is what you guys said, it's on the defense. So the next question Paul had, and I'll start with Paul. Do you think it would have made a difference if Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Kenny Galladay, listen, three of their better players on the team, played the entire game?
I'm not going to be flip about it, but if I could put Daniel Jones in the secondary, Kenny Galladay at linebacker, and Saquon at defensive line, maybe we would have had a chance. On offense, no chance. But if they could play defense, then we might have had a chance. I don't want to be flip about it.
Kenny, what about you? Do you think that game's different if those three guys play?
I think it's a little different, but the defense has got to show up. The result would have been 37-27 maybe, but it would have been a slight difference in the score, but defense has got to show up. Can't give up that many points. Plain and simple.
Sis, what about you?
You know, from being a former player and coaching like we did, you got to come out. You got to come right out of the gate. You got to smack somebody in the mouth, and you got to play ball. And they don't do that. Once you start falling behind, especially against a team like Dallas, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. So you got to take the start challenge right out of the gate.
Eddie Murphy is saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, Paul."
No, I was going to say, and to Sister's comments, that's one of the things that we're seeing about the Giants team. I mean, a couple of the Cowboy players came out and said, we weren't bruised and battered. So we're not playing hard. And it's almost disrespectful in a way to the Giants and their organization that's the perception that they're giving out right now. So
great point.
100%
Great point.
right.
Great point.
Let's get to this because this was a real big coming out party. Paul, as you say, Kadarius Toney's coming out party. Unbelievable. Hey, you know what? Gettleman looks good for that pick because a lot of people are like, who? And you know what? He did play. I mean, he did. Listen, what do you have? I think 170 yards receiving. 10 receptions, 189. But we also did see the punching incident. Paul's question, I'll start with you again, Paul. Could this have been handled differently? Could this have been handled differently by A, Tony himself, B, Joe Judge, or C, the officials?
I'm going to say all of them because clearly Tony expressed an immature part of him that he never should have done. He came back the next day and wound up apologizing to everybody. So good for him. Judge, in my opinion, we all saw it on TV, cursing him out, getting him in the locker room. Clearly, that should have been something that should have been handled in the locker room, behind closed doors, not out in the public like that. You're not going to embarrass someone. You know, Judge would not have done that to a Daniel Jones, a Blake Martinez, any veteran, only because he was a rookie. He did that. And to the officials, if you watch that play, there was all this pushing and shoving. Ingram got pushed and should have been a foul, a personal foul on the Dallas player. So from my side of it, the officials handled it very poorly, looked to Tony. I'm not condoning Tony's punch. Absolutely not. That's totally unnecessary and unacceptable. But I think all three of them could have handled that whole situation a lot better.
Sis, what about you? Honestly, you know, as a coach, you know, you just mentioned before, taking it from the coaching aspect, Tony, Judge, or the officials. Do you agree with Paul, or you want to go a little different on how this thing could have been handled better?
No, I kind of go with Paul. I think all three of them. Again, you know, in the excitement in the game, you have to control yourself. Especially, you know, you're throwing punches. First of all, you got all this equipment on. You could bust your hand. Number two, and I've said this from the beginning, Joe Judge, he comes off with this macho, tough guy exterior. To me, it's like a shell. It's like a shell. He's not like the old time coaches, Chuck Noll, Purcells, and coaches like that. I never liked the guy, and it's not personal. When I read his body language, it really turns me off. And the officials, getting to the third part of this, not only in the Giant game, in all these games, these officials, they just want to get on TV.
Yeah, I agree, sis. Totally agree.
They just want to get on TV. They're making calls that, you know, it's totally. When you're sitting there as a fan trying to watch the game, you're like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
I think was it in the Dallas game? No, it was in the what game? Was it the Packer game? I forget. 3 times in a row they called illegal motion on somebody the other day. 3 times. 3 times in a row. I forget what game it was. It's out of control. It's out of control. It's a shame.
I'm gonna go in the order I think that I was most upset with, and that's one, the officials. And I'm not crying over spilled milk with the officials. Officials are entitled to bad games. They're gonna miss calls. They're humans. But I'm gonna go back to Daniel Jones's injury, helmet to helmet, no penalty call. I'm gonna go to Elijah Penny, fullback, helmet to helmet, no penalty call. I'm going to go to Contavious Tony's play, slam to the ground. Then the pushing and shoving comes, no penalty call. It's always the second person that gets caught. Not condoning Contavious Tony's actions, but that was frustration. But I'm going to give him a pass, and that's where Joe Judge comes in. To go and do that on air and go after Tony like that, unprofessional, like Sis said. Maybe it's a show, but what nobody else saw was he pats Will Hernandez, who's in there fighting as well, on the back. Good job. Well, is it a good job for Hernandez because he's a veteran, and Tony because he's a rookie? You're going to rip him apart? The kid just had the game of his life. Don't do that to him and get in his head, and he's going to struggle for the next 3 or 4 weeks. I hope we don't.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly.
All right,
That's
a
a great point.
Good point.
A little.
So I'm going to say,
I'm sorry, Kenny.
but one more thing with the referees. That was a disgrace by those referees. That staff should be looked at. Again, they're all entitled to a bad game, but they also missed Devontae Booker's touchdown. Fox was still on a commercial.
Yeah.
That's not Fox's fault.
Yeah.
That's the referees starting that game before Fox,
Right.
before it came on.
Right.
We missed that touchdown.
Yep.
All right, a nice little segment.
Bad performance by the referees.
A nice little segment. I like that Paul does the good, the bad, the ugly. He only has
Wait,
one.
Kurt, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I read before the show tonight that Evan Ingram, after the game when they were congratulating the Cowboys, apparently got hit in the face, punched in the face by one of the Cowboy players, one of the defensive backs. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
Did not.
I want to see where John Hussey, that was the referee, and that staff is refereeing this week, and see how they manage a game this week. Because I'll guarantee you it's going to be better than it was in the Cowboy Giant game. I'd love to know where they're going to be this week, that staff.
All right, something to look at. Like I was saying, Paul has this great little segment, the good, the bad, the ugly. The good is short this week. Kadarius Toney, 10 for 189. Eddie said it's a Giants rookie record. That's it for the good. So we don't even have to go around and ask about the good. Here's the bad, and I'm going to start this with Sis. These are the options on the bad. Which one was the worst out of the bad? The defense giving up over 500 total yards. They couldn't stop the run or the pass. No QB pressure, or the secondary was just bad. Sis.
No QB pressure.
Kenny.
He had all day to throw. Mm-hmm.
Just nailed it. No quarterback pressure, because that leads to the secondary getting beat. That leads to all your other problems on defense. You got to get quarterback pressure. And you can't rely on a rookie to be that guy. The kid Ujari, I'm happy with him. I think that was a great pickup. But Leonard Williams, make your money. Start making some plays. Dexter Lawrence, start making some plays. Et cetera, et cetera.
Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I could include everything. I don't think there's a bad choice here. I can read you statistic after statistic of how bad the Giant defense is, but overall, it's the lack of a pass rush, the inability to stop the run, and it all adds up to a horrible game on Sunday.
Eddie Murphy saying last year Bradbury only gave up, I think, 400 yards of total offense, and this year through 5 games he's given up more than 300 plus himself. And then we get to the ugly, Kenny. I'll start with you. Which is the ugliest? The injuries, the bad penalties, the dropped interception, or the undisciplined play?
If you go on undisciplined play, I don't. Do you mean by the that leads to the penalties?
Just undisciplined play, like in the whole team, like just as in general, the undisciplined play.
Yeah, that's got to be up there. But I'm gonna throw that in there. But I'm gonna throw in, dropping interceptions again. It's every week. I know cornerbacks aren't supposed to have the best of hands, but let's make one interception, guys. Come on.
All right, Sis.
Definitely the injuries. You need the players. You need the horses. And that in that particular game, that broke their backs. And again, they with the backups and everything, they were playing with the Cowboys. So that real quick, that leads me to really, how good is Dallas? I mean, seriously, how good is Dallas? Have they really played it? Have they played the Rams yet? No. So you're gonna see the Cowboys get exposed. I mean, they look good now. Wait till they start playing some better teams. That's all I gotta say.
Real quick before Paul goes. We already have more losses in our division 5 games into the season than we did all of last year. We only lost 1 game in our division last year. This year we already have 2.
Yeah.
And Paul, what was the ugliest?
Um, I'm going to go with the injuries, of course, but I still want to just touch base on the undisciplined play because, this was Joe Judge's mantra of we're going to be disciplined and we're going to be able to do all these things. We're not going to be undisciplined. And I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. Every game, there just seems to be something that occurs that bad teams do. So I don't know if it's Judge, the coaches, or the players just not getting it through them. And it's just a frustration to see this game after game after game.
Okay.
Anyway.
Couple more comments. I know we're up against the clock, Kenny, but I'm going to try to get this done real quick because I want to hit these two more things. Saquon Barkley. This is like the gorilla in the gorilla in the room because this is going to happen soon, and it's now his third injury in 4 years, and he's getting, not where it's like, a little ticky tack injury, like big time injuries, especially anything to the knees to these running backs. Okay, I'm going to start with Sis. What should the Giants do with him in the future? He's going to want the money. He's going to want Christian McCaffrey money, which is close to $18 to $20 million a year. So, Sis, you're the GM. He comes to you and he said, I want this extension now. I want to be the highest paid running back or right by Christian McCaffrey.
Nope. Can't give it to him. Sorry. I mean, I like the kid and everything. Like he's too injury prone. He's like China. China gets dropped, put it back together. China gets dropped, pieces together. It's like Wentz. Wentz is an injury prone player. This kid has this label on him for the last 2 years. So I'm not really too high. I mean, again, nothing personal. I'm not really high on this kid. I'm really not.
Eddie Murphy saying bye-bye Saquon. Kenny, you're the GM. What are you doing?
Well, I said it weeks ago about Saquon. I would look to try and trade him. But I'm going to say this. What'd you say McCaffrey's making?
I want to say it's like 18 million.
18?
I'll look it up right now.
McCaffrey's also injury prone. So that's your selling point as the Giants GM, which is not going to be Gettleman. If I'm the GM of like Saquon, you want Christian McCaffrey money, but he's injury prone.
He signed a 4-year, $64 million deal. $40 million, 38 is guaranteed. 16 million a year. 16 a year, 38 guaranteed.
I can't give you McCaffrey money because you're injury prone and he's injury prone. So I'm going to have to give you less. Take it or leave it. And I'm giving him 12 to 14 million a year. And if that's the price, I keep. But anything more, got to get rid of him. I'm sorry. I love the kid. I think when he's healthy, he's best. But
Beelin's
healthy is the big keyword.
Beelin's saying if Barkley doesn't get it from the Giants, he'll get it from someone else. Murphy's saying if Dave Gettleman is still GM, he will sign him to what he wants. Paul.
If Dave Gettleman is the GM next year, I will walk to Denver with Kurt when he walks to Denver.
I agree with both of you guys. It's sad that it's come to this because he's been injured 3 out of his 4 years. I mean, his rookie year, he was amazing. We thought, he was the second coming of greatest running backs. But it's got to the point now where you can't rely on him. And as we always say, the best ability is availability. And if he's not available, how can we justify giving him money? So I just think it's unfortunate. It really is.
All right, and then here we go because Beelin's excited for this. Paul, again, you did a great job with this. You said since last week they've played quote-unquote Dallas and the Americas team, you want to give out stars for your grade. So 4 stars equals an A, 3 stars is a B, 2 stars is a C, 1 star is a D, 0 stars is an F. I'm going to start with Kenny. Grade the offense, Kenny.
2 stars. Tony, obviously 5 stars, and then everybody else lowered that rating. So I'm gonna go 2. Solid 2 stars.
Sis, offense. How many stars you give him for this performance?
2.
Paul.
Same. 2.
Defense, Kenny.
0. I didn't see one good thing. It's got to be 0.
Sis?
0.
Paul?
It's a sweep. 0.
And Sis's favorite, I'm going to start with him. Eddie Murphy went 0. Sis, coaching staff.
0.
Kenny?
Can you do less than 0? Jason Garrett, my read just real quick. It's a 0 because of Joe Judge and all, but Jason Garrett, you got the ball at the half-yard line, and you're not either going to run the ball up the middle on 3rd down or let Daniel Jones sneak it in. You're going to roll him out to the left side on a bootleg, which is going to slow him down, and then he gets concussion there.
It's a great point.
Paul?
Yeah. I mean, Daniel Jones is 6'5", 240 pounds.
Right.
If you can't get that half inch to go in the middle,
you're rolling them out. Yep.
And you're rolling them out. So, 0 stars.
All right, and the last thing, if you thought last week was bad, guess who's rolling in Sunday to MetLife? Yep, the Rams. 4-1, led by Matthew Stafford. They look to be obviously a Super Bowl contender. Defense led by the great Aaron Donald. So last question of the night. I'll start with Sis.
Don't ask for picks because I'm not making
No, not picks. Can the Giants either win this or keep it close? And if so, what do they need to do?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say keep it close. They have to play outstanding defense to even have a shot in this game. That's it.
Kenny.
Sorry,
Sis. Kenny.
No, finite.
I'm going to say they keep it close only because West Coast teams sometimes have jet lag coming over to the East Coast. Is this a 1 o'clock game or a 4 o'clock
1
game?
o'clock.
Yeah.
Beelin's chiming in.
10 o'clock
Beelin
game.
said, keep it close on Madden 95 on Nintendo.
Giants are going to keep it close. Daniel Jones may be back. Daniel Jones may be back. Giants are going to keep this close. Rams are going to have a little hangover because it's be an early morning game for them.
And Mr. Rosen, the final call.
Just to mention what Kenny just said, if I'm the Giants, and obviously it's got to be signed off and the protocol has got to be complete, I would not play Daniel Jones. I mean,
No way.
No, I would not.
We said that we're going to get Broncos next, but we said that with Teddy Bridgewater. I didn't think he should have played last week. He should have, 17-game season.
Yeah.
Sis brings it up all the time.
Yep.
17-game season. Season isn't won or lost in week 4 or 5.
So
your season can be lost if you lose your quarterback for the year.
Mark has a great point, guys. He's saying the Giants need to play sound defense and offense needs to score touchdowns, not field goals.
Yeah. And I'm going to mention one more thing. I think from a pride factor, they're going to be at home. Let's hope they can come out and show some pride for the fans and come out with at least a representable showing, even if Jones doesn't play and Barkley's out, and Galladay. So let's see if they can keep it close at least.
And
Absolutely.
Mr. Kirkpatrick, that is all I have for the little round table tonight.
Well, awesome job. Again, you're in New Jersey for one more week, right? Or is it New York?
Yeah, we're actually on Long Island right now.
Nice.
Till next Tuesday. So
recovery for Mom again. And
thank you so much.
Hope we can somehow pull off a victory on Sunday and have a nice little talk next Wednesday and not
Absolutely.
make it a routine, not make a daily routine where we're talking about losses each week.
Let's hope so, guys.
You know what, Paul?
Good job, Paul.
Paul, you know what?
Thank you so much.
I'm not looking forward to Giants talk next week. I'm looking forward to talking some New York Knicks with you next week. That's what I'm
we're
looking
gonna
forward to.
I'm gonna be in touch with you. Maybe we'll do some with Knicks too, because I know you're a big Knicks fan.
That's fine.
We'll
We'll do it
out for sure.
Hopefully, we'll have a more positive outlook.
Let's
You
go.
got my boy Miles from
Seton Hall,
my friend.
That's it.
All right.
Well, have a great night. Let's
You
talk
too,
to soon.
guys. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let's go Knicks, baby. Mark saying again. Thank you to Paul Rosen. Does an awesome job with the notes. Gives us a little, Giant review, preview, and he's realistic. Listen, you can't be grading the Giants high.
Changing it. I love how Boy changes it up every week. The
Yep.
stars this week because it was the Cowboys. Last week was the music. Makes it fun for me because, even though we're losing, it makes it fun to talk about a team that's losing.
Yep.
Let me see. I think we're ready for Bronco Mania, right?
Do you want to do Bronco Mania or you want to do what's on Sis's mind?
Let's do Sis's mind because I know somebody who wants to join for Bronco Mania. So let's do Sis's mind first.
Yeah, because we got what I'm looking forward to is one of our interns, Daniel Amoya, is coming on to make his debut tonight. He's going to talk a little hockey with us for like a little 7-minute to 10-minute segment. So let's get what's on Sis's mind because there must be a lot on Sis's mind.
All right, again, I hope the audience participates beside Kenny and Kurt and beside Beelan. Just kidding. This Gruden firing has really got me, got the wheels turning this week. And, listening to some of these comments the night it happened, and I'm going to start with Booger McFarland. Okay? And he was like ranting and raving, this absolutely has to be, this has to definitely be done, yada, yada, yada. And then he goes on to say about and I'm quoting, the black players need to be more concerned with building a brand for themselves than, they should be more concerned about building a brand for themselves than working on their craft. He threw in the thing about 70% of the league is black. So to me, okay, you don't need to be promoting racism when a situation like this came up. Number two, Gruden didn't work for IBM, okay, and then go to the NFL. He got fired for stuff he said 10 years ago when he wasn't even the coach of the Raiders, okay? And then you had Keon Johnson, okay, another all-star, chiming in because he's got sour grapes because in 2003, Mr. Gruden deactivated him on a squad. He wasn't a well-liked player on the squad, and Warren Sapp was the team captain, and they got him out of Tampa Bay. To me, even at USC, he was always a wide guy. He was a troublemaker. He should not be an announcer. Randy Moss should not be an announcer. And put them two together. Take Boogie McFarland. He's the worst. He's the worst of starting stuff. Kurt, what do you think?
I'm going to say this. What Gruden did was wrong. What Gruden did was stupid. And you know what? Listen, I have no problems with if the Raiders don't want people like that. Because, again, there's no need for that. There's no need for him to act like that. You're a leader. You're supposed to be a head coach. You do not do you don't do stuff like that. Okay, so he's absolutely wrong, mocking people and wrong. Not as a leader of a team. But what I have a problem with is, and this goes back to what Sis said about the whole 10-year deal. That's fine if you want to play that game, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers took him out of the Ring of Fame. But in the meantime, they just signed Richard Sherman, who domestic violence. And I want to say, who's the other guy? Is it Mike Evans? They got another guy. How are those guys on the team? So Gruden, we're going to take him down, but we just signed someone who's, I don't even know if the domestic violence is still open. Number two, if that's going to be the case with the whole, okay, and again, I have nothing against the Raiders to go and say, hey, he did this 10 years, we don't want it. Not a problem. But then go look back. Kareem Hunt. I want to see Kareem Hunt out of Cleveland because, you know what? Kareem Hunt might be okay now, but 4 years ago, he's beating up his girlfriend. Why is he still in the league? You know what? Get to that and do it. So it can't be, it's Gruden, but you're okay. I'm more disappointed with Tampa Bay. How are you signing a guy like Sherman? You take him out now. Okay, Gruden's out of the thing. That's fine. It should have been Gruden's off the Wall of Fame. Sherman, hand in your cleats. Is it Mike Evans? Sorry, Mike. I know you're a target for Brady and everything, but we're cleaning up this team. You got to go too. Only one guy went. I don't know why. So that's where it's wrong. Hey, Gruden's wrong. Gruden shouldn't be a head coach saying stuff like that. But if we're going to play fair, you know what? And you want to be clean, Tampa Bay? Let the garbage out. Sherman's garbage. Evans is garbage. Kareem Hunt in Cleveland's garbage. We can go on and on with all these guys. That's garbage. Get them out.
Kenny?
Totally agree with what you said in your comments, sis, in your statement. And Kurt, you just said, you can add Deshaun Watson to that mix. Why is he still on the roster?
Right. Deshaun Watson is still in the league.
But we're going to trade him to the Dolphins, and he's going to make $1 million a year, And Myles Garrett, who assaulted Mason Rudolph last year with 2 years with the helmet, and you can go on and on and on and on. My question is,
how about this one? Wait, how about this one, Kenny? How about this one? Urban Meyer.
My biggest one is, and I don't mean this as a joke. It's going to come out as a joke. But I'm serious. Who saves an email from 10 years ago? How do you find emails from 10 years ago?
It happened because of the whole Washington thing.
It's 650,000 emails. Did you know that?
Yeah, it's because of all this stuff with the Washington, and they were going into
Correct.
Because of
That's
all that.
right.
That's how
That's
it came
right.
with the brother Gruden.
Yep.
So
Yep. Here's one for you.
I agree with you 100%. The Raiders do what they want to do. Rid of the guy. That's fine. They let Gruden. They did it the right way. John, resign, or we're gonna have to fire you with this situation.
But you know what? Then it better be like that, Kenny, from going forward for anybody. I don't care if it's David Carr. I don't care if it's. I don't care who it is. If they do it, gone. No questions asked. Gone. It's Tampa Bay too. Gone.
So there's more people involved. Honestly, yeah.
Why did Ray Rice get kicked out of the league? That's stuck. Why is that so different?
You know why it's different, sis? Because he was at the end of his career. That's why. And they tried to make it. What he did and what Joe Mixon and Kareem Hunt did were the same exact thing. The problem was Ray Rice was in his 30s and, he lost a lot of step. Kareem Hunt and Joe Mixon are young players, so they go like this. We didn't see that part. That's why. They tried to make look what we're doing, a tough stance with Ray Rice. But it's because he's older. That's why. They could have did it with Mixon and Kareem Hunt. They didn't do it.
Now, let me ask you this now. We had the Michael Vick incident a few years back, okay?
Yep.
The dog betting, the dog killing. Mike did his time. Mike made a mistake. They let him back in the league. Do you guys think Gruden's going to do his time and ever coach again or ever be on ESPN? My take, and then I'll go to Kurt, is definitely no way. Kurt.
I'm with you. I don't think so. I think I can't see him on TV. I can't see him. I can't see a coach touching him. I mean, a football staff coach. Like a head. I don't think so.
Kenny.
Yeah, I'm with Kurt 100%, sis. I agree. Echo his words.
Kenny, do you think Goodell's behind this at all? Roger Goodell stirring the pot a little bit? Because think about it. What does he do? He does the draft. He does the Super Bowl. He gets paid $40 million. For what? For what?
I don't know if he's behind it. If you ask me a different question, is he doing a good job? I'd say he's doing an okay job. He's not doing a good job.
But what is he doing besides sitting at games on Sundays? What is he doing?
Not suspending the players he should be suspending.
That's a great point.
Deshaun Watson to be on a roster right now, even though he's not playing for the Texans, to be actively on that roster getting paid is a disgrace.
Is a joke. Kurt?
Mark is saying, yes, sir, he is behind it. I don't know if he's – I guess, yeah, I'm going to agree with Mark because, he's maybe like pushing a little like put a little pressure on the Raiders. I don't know about Tampa Bay, but I think he wanted to see him gone. I'll say that. He wanted to see him gone.
Bert, do you think like Booger McFarland, Keyshawn, these guys, Moss, do you think they all jumped on a bandwagon because John Gruden was on the road to make $100 million? And there's jealousy involved there, like I'm not getting it.
Well, you know what? I think you nailed it, sis. You nailed it with Keyshawn. There's sour grapes there. I mean, basically, he ended Keyshawn's career. Deactivating him. It's embarrassing when you're the #1 pick in the draft. Now you go there, you're not suiting up. So I think Keyshawn stirring the pot. Yes, like this is it. This is my like. Now I'm gonna get you back.
Yeah, exactly.
This is gonna be okay. You did this.
Absolutely.
Now I'm gonna do this. And he is in the spotlight. He is on ESPN. He's on the morning show. So you are gonna hear him. I think the other guys. I don't know the other guys as much, but Keyshawn, 100%. He has that vendetta with him, and he's gonna try to, when he's down, bury him. So absolutely, and that goes back to when he coached him in Tampa.
Absolutely, Kenny.
I agree. And it's vendetta and it's egos as well. These guys have egos the size of Texas. That's how big their egos.
So you're saying that their jealousy there because Gruden was on track to make $100 million. Is that right?
I'm going to say there's something there. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. Okay. And ending this, if you guys really want to watch, he's on Get Up in the morning sometime, Jason Whitlock. If you want to watch his interview on this whole episode with John Gruden, it's really, I watched it today, and he is spot on about all this nonsense that's going on. So that's it for tonight from Sis's Corner, and thank you for answering those questions.
Good job, Sis. Kurt, I think we're ready for our next guest. I will let you introduce this young man.
Okay.
To introduce him not only to our audience, but to me and Sis as well.
Okay.
And there he is.
What's up, Daniel? How are you? Can you hear us? I think he's chewing.
Yeah, can you hear me?
There he is. What's up, Daniel? How are you?
Hey, how are you?
All right, guys, I want to introduce you, Sis and Kenny. It's the first time you're introducing to our audience. This is Daniel Amoya. He is one of our awesome interns. He just started working with our team, doing stuff behind the scenes. He's been doing a lot of stuff on Twitter. He's going to start putting some stuff on Facebook. So, Daniel, I want to appreciate Jenny Hoops. Jenny, my wife
Thanks.
Jen, is saying hello. Hi, Daniel. And what Daniel's going to bring to us is something that I have very low knowledge in, Sis and Kenny, and that is hockey. Daniel, you're a big Devils fan. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So if you want to help us a little with hockey, because we have no idea when we talk about hockey.
Well, first off, I want to also thank, I know Sis, but I want to say thank you too. Thanks for joining our team. Pleasure having you.
Thank you.
I am in a fantasy hockey league, even though I do not know much about hockey, but I do have, and I heard you're a Devils fan, I have their, correct me if I'm wrong, he's either a wing or a center, Jack Hughes. Is that right?
Yes, he's both actually. So
that's who I have. He's one of my sleeper picks there in fantasy hockey.
yes.
But Kurt, yeah, what do you want to say anything to Daniel?
Yeah, welcome to the show, Daniel. What school do you go to?
Thank you. I go to Montclair. I'm a
Boy. And whatever you do, right, make sure Kurt pays you because he's got a lot of money.
All right, let's get the Sis on the show.
I'm just kidding.
No, we're busting. Hey, and our guy Manny DeLima saying, let's go Rangers. So he's a Ranger fan and a big Cowboy fan. So, Daniel, what we want you to do tonight is if you could just go over the local teams. Obviously, you're a big Devils fan, but, of course, we got like Manny, Ranger fans, and maybe the best team in the area, the Islanders. So if you want to just go over those three teams real quick, just give your input, what we can expect from those teams. The floor is yours.
Um, yeah, definitely. Let me just. Can you all hear me? Because my audio is kind of cutting out a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
we hear you
we can
good.
hear you. Yeah,
Okay.
good.
All right. Um, I guess I'll start off with the Islanders then. Um, I think I agree. They're probably the best suited of the three to make a deep run. I don't think the Devils or Rangers are ready yet. Um, I'll go through their lineups actually.
Okay.
The Islanders have Underly at level one. He was hurt. Actually, he got hurt playing. I don't remember the injury, but I know his lower body. Severe injury last year took him out of the playoffs. That really impacted the Islanders' run. I think they could have made it to the Cup final, but they ended up a game short because he was out. So they finally have him back. He's big playmaker, elite goal scorer, whole type of thing. I think that's huge for them to have him back. Then centered by Matt Barzal, who is another elite center. He's shown flashes of being like a franchise center. Not sure if he could live up to that, but only time will tell. The past few years, we've seen flashes with the shutdowns. Obviously, it's been harder to tell. Then right wing Kyle Palmieri, who broke my heart a bit when he got traded by the Devils, but he's a goal scorer. He's getting older, so it's going to be important to see if he regresses or not. But he's another crucial aspect because if he could score 25, 30 goals this season, that's going to be big for them. Then we have their second line, Anthony Beauvillier, Brock Nelson, and Josh Bailey, who are all just very solid NHL players, good on both ends of the puck, offensively and defensively. They average about 0.75 points per game, all three of them. They're almost carbon copies of each other in a sense. So that's big for the Islanders if they could all stay healthy, and they're those type of players you could always count on to get stuff done. Then we have their third line, Zach Parise, who was a Devil for a while. He was with Minnesota last year. He fell off a lot last season. He had 18 points in 45 games last year after having 46 in 69 games in the 2019-20 season. So it's gonna be big for him to see if he could bounce back with the Islanders. Now he's with Lou Lamoriello, the GM, who's with the Devils, so that could possibly spark him, bring back his old self. But I personally don't see it. I just don't see him bouncing back. He's getting older, but you never know. Sports are crazy. We all know that. So, we'll see how that goes. Centered by JG Pageau, who is probably one of the best third line centers in the game. Just gritty type player, very good on the penalty kill. Just gets the job done. Very physical. Puts the puck in all type of things you look for in a hockey. Any team is better with JG Pageau. And then we have Oliver Wahlstrom, who is a young goal scorer with a cannon of a shot. It's an elite shot. He killed the Devils with it last year. So if he could, he's very young. I want to say he's around 21, 22. So if he's able to live up to his potential, that's going to be huge. And then we have their fourth line of Ross Johnson, Casey Cizikas, and Cal Clutterbuck. None of those players are really like standout players, but they all have NHL experience. They're pretty tough to play against. I wouldn't say it's a great fourth line, but they'll definitely compete. It's probably average, and when you have the rest of the team that's above average, I don't think it'll be a huge deal. Then we have their defense, Adam Pelech and Ryan Pulock. The defense is where the Islanders' problems lie. Adam Pelech and Pulock, they're good, but not great. The Islanders are severely lacking a top defenseman, and I think that might come back to bite them this year. We'll see. Kind of how the Devils added Dougie Hamilton as a top free agent. The Islanders certainly could have pounced on that. I don't know what their like financial situation is, but it's definitely going to hurt them not having like a top scoring defenseman. On the other hand, though, the Islanders are more of a defensive team. They have been the past few years, so that might not matter as much because of the last few seasons in terms of lowest goals allowed. So plus they have great goaltending. So as long as you have good goaltending, you're always in it. I don't know if it'll be a problem, but when it comes to Stanley Cup time, that might be a huge determining factor. Then we have Zdeno Chara and Noah Dobson, their second pairing. Chara was drafted 7 years before I was born. Now here we are in 2021. He's still playing, 44 years old, going on 45, probably a Hall of Famer, most likely. He's obviously on the tail end of his career at that age, but he's the biggest player in hockey. He's very physical. He has a long reach. I believe he's like 6'9", 6'10". So he'll be able to shut other teams down along with Noah Dobson, who is, again, just a solid NHLer. Then we have Andy Green, Scott Mayfield, their bottom pairing, who the problem with them is they do nothing offensively. The Islanders most likely aren't going to score when they're on the ice, but they're great on the top. So they can shut other teams down late in games, and if they have a lead, they'll likely be protected. So that's what they'll be used for. Then we have their goalies, Ilya Sorokin and Semyon Varlamov. That's a great goalie tandem. Sorokin was a bit shaky at times. It was his first year in the NHL last year, but he's on the rise. He showed flashes of dominance. Semyon Varlamov is a very good NHL goaltender.
Daniel, let me ask you this: what's
And
really what's the ceiling? What's the ceiling for the Islanders?
So,
I mean, can they get to the Cup this year? Do they have a legit shot in your opinion?
I think they can if everything goes right. I don't see it happening. I have them losing in the first round of the playoffs. I still think there's a few holes. I think having like a number one defenseman is going to kill them. The goaltending, Varlamov is very good. Sorokin is still young and growing. Go ahead.
No, before we leave, I'd like to get your predictions on Stanley Cup and all that. But do you have any sleeper teams in the East and West that you think can take that next step this year, that maybe weren't in the playoffs or were in the playoffs, but have is your sleeper team to make it in, not only in the playoffs, but a deep run in the playoffs?
Yes. My sleeper team for the East is probably Toronto. They've been, I believe, last 3 or 4 years, they've been first round exit. They just can't get out of the first round. They get there every year, just can't do it. Talent wise, they're honestly about the same, maybe even a bit regressed. But now they're playing in front of the home fans in Toronto, which they didn't have that all last year. And I think that's going to propel them. And I think they'll sneak into the playoff. I think they have enough talent where they could get hot at the right time and make a run. For the West, I have Seattle, the new expansion team, making the wild card, and that's not because I think they're a great team. Because Vegas's first year in 2017, the 2017-2018 season, they made the Cup final. Seattle, their roster is not even close to that. They are a very young team, inexperienced. They're great. But with that being said, they are in a very weak Pacific Division where a lot of teams will be tanking towards the end of the season, and I think they'll sneak in. And I think I don't see them making a deep run toward the Cup, but I think they have enough talent where they can shock a few people.
Like it. I got one sleeper team. I didn't do two. My sleeper team is the Chicago Blackhawks, and I don't know too much about hockey, but I know Patrick Kane is there, I believe, and they got the goalie now, Fleury. And I just think that right there, having that goalie on a solid team is going to make a difference over there in Chicago this year.
I agree. I'm actually on Friday going to the Devils Blackhawks game. It's the Devils home opener. Fleury.
Oh, Devils.
There you go.
Fleury is.
I'm sorry, Daniel. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Fleury's huge add for them. I agree. He's been my favorite goaltender in hockey. Whenever I do like simulations or anything, I always like trade him to the Devils. I've loved watching him play. I love how he kind of took over the city of Vegas when they became an expansion team, and kind of like Vegas became his home. They rallied over him. They had his back, and he took them to a Stanley Cup final in their first year as a franchise, which is basically unheard of. And kind of the way things ended, things went bad. His agent kind of sabotaged him out. The fans were mad that the ownership wanted him out, but all Vegas fans love him, and I think he's kind of playing with that chip on his shoulder this year, knowing that like Vegas kicked him out and he loved it there. So he's going to want to prove everyone wrong. He's going to want to prove Vegas's ownership wrong. And I agree. That's huge for Chicago. And on top of that, they have a few very, very good prospects, such as Kirby Dach, who Team Canada product who will definitely spark the team when he's healthy. He was hurt last year, but now that he's going to have his first full season under his belt, he's going to take that team under his wing. Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane, elite players whose production is still up there, and I think they could definitely put it together and make a run.
All right, real quick, Daniel, we got like 4 or 5 minutes left. Obviously you're a huge Devils fan, so you know what? Let's get to the Devils. Let's give us a quick team preview of your Devils, and if you're going to be happy come postseason, if you're going to get your boys are going to get into the postseason this year.
Well, I guess it depends on your definition of happy. I don't see them making the playoffs. I think if they were in the Pacific like Seattle, they definitely would. The Metropolitan Division is too tough. It's very, very stacked. 6 or 7 teams, including the Devils, are, I think, good hockey teams, but I don't think the Devils have done enough to go from good to great. I think that's coming in the next few years. We have the youngest team in the NHL by, I believe, over a full year. I want to say it was like the average age was like 23, 22.7, something like that. So very, very young. We have some of the main talking points, Yegor Sharangovich, who I was very high on before he came to the NHL last year. He was like a 5th round draft pick, which for hockey is like nothing. Like it's kind of a crapshoot. He's the only player from that round of the draft in 2018 to even make his NHL debut, and he was a huge part of the team last year. 17 points in his last 19 games. He played on the top line the entire season, even though he had no NHL experience prior. Really just broke out of nowhere. No one knew who he was coming to training camp, and he had elite speed, an elite shot, something that the Devils have needed for a long time. Then we have, as we mentioned earlier, Jack Hughes, number 1 overall pick in 2019, who hasn't fully reached his ceiling yet. He has a way to go, but all the little stuff is there. He has the gifts that no one else has: the speed, the speed, the shot, the playmaking. It's all there. He's had to put on size. When he came into the league, he got tossed around like a ping pong ball, just because he was an 18-year-old playing in the best league in the world. He just had to get used to it. He doubled his production last year, and he keeps coming out and saying he's going to be one of the best players in the sport. And I think it's just a matter of time. Maybe not this year, it could be, but I think by next year he'll be fully broken out as a star. Some other talking points, we have our goalie situation. Mackenzie Blackwood had COVID last year. He was dominant before COVID. COVID came, he had it really tough. He had some breathing issues. He said he always felt like he was out of breath. He just never really got up to full speed, and his numbers took a big hit as a result of it. He 900 save percentage is like demotion worthy basically in the NHL, even though he was an elite starter before that. So this is going to be a huge bounce back year for him. The 2 years prior to last year, he was elite. He actually tied Martin Brodor's rookie season save percentage with 913. So anytime, regardless of whether you know much about hockey, anytime you're getting compared to Martin Brodeur, it's a good thing. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be huge for him. He looked really good in training camp. He says he's 100%. He's finally overcame everything. And then on top of that, there's a lot less pressure on him because the Devils signed Jonathan Bernier, who's a free agent, who instead of relying on like a minor league caliber goaltenders, now they have a legitimate backup who can split the workload with Blackwood and give you wins on any given night. So there's no pressure on Blackwood. He gets his job done. Bernier gets his job done, and you never know what could happen. Last talking point, Devils signed Dougie Hamilton, who was the top free agent in the entire sport this season. Elite defenseman. Many people consider him inside the top 5. If not, he's definitely in everyone's top 10. He's going to be able to quarterback their power play and just be that high-scoring defenseman that the Devils haven't really had since they were winning championships. So that's going to be huge for them. And a guy that scores almost a point per game. He's big. I want to say he's 6'6". He's going to get the job on and be crucial to this team as they signed him to a 7-year deal. So even if it's not next year, even if it's not this year, next year, the year after, when the young prospects are getting older, more experience, I think this team's going to be very fun to watch. Okay.
Kenny, anything else for Daniel for his first appearance? Daniel knows his stuff, man.
No,
He did an awesome job.
Daniel, you got a job. You're going to have to come back on our show because I want to do a Stanley Cup show with you in the upcoming weeks. Nice little segment. We'll do our Stanley
Sounds
Cup.
Good.
Picks.
Works for me.
We'll give Sis some homework. Kurt and I will do some picks as well. But I also got another job for you. I heard Kurt told me I'm going to do messaging you with Twitter. But our good friends over at Rocky Mountain Sports Report, they have a hockey show. My good friend Scott Cole and his co-host Greg Dowda do a show called In the Crease. And your homework, I'm going to give you some homework. I'm going to reach out to them. You can represent K&K Sports Show on their show and be their guests. Represent the East Coast hockey because they're out in Colorado, so they're big Avalanche fans. And they got some big heads going on right now because their Avalanche are hot. So we need some East Coast hockey. So might send you their way if you're interested to go on.
Sounds good. That's perfect.
But you could check them out, Rocky Mountain Sports Report, and it show's called In the Crease. I believe they do they did a pregame show last week, but I believe their shows are on Saturdays. I believe they do their show on Saturday, that show. It's all hockey. It's like an hour and a half long,
That's
all about
awesome.
hockey.
Sounds good.
No, Daniel, thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, we want to get you involved more and more on the shows. You're always welcome. We'll be asking you to come on. You're doing an awesome job as an intern with us on Twitter. I know you're going to start doing some stuff on Facebook like we talked about. And you're just doing an awesome job. All our interns are. You're awesome, doing an awesome job.
Whenever you're interested again, thank you so much for being our intern. We really appreciate everything you're doing. And anytime you want to come on, Kurt doesn't have to ask you. You can ask us.
Yep.
We'll get you on. I need to be educated on some Capitals. I'm down here in Maryland, and that's the team that's been good the last few years with Ovechkin. So I need to be TJ Oshie. So I know a little bit about the Capitals, but I need to be educated a little bit more on them. So maybe asking your help and maybe bringing you on, asking you some questions in fantasy hockey as well.
Sounds good. You guys are up 3-0 right now, so it's looking good.
There you go.
Awesome.
You did a great job, son. Did a great job.
Best of luck, and we'll see you soon for sure. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, guys. So that was Daniel Moy, one of our great interns, and one of the first interns to come on the show with us. And like you said, we're going to get him involved, get him on, and be very knowledgeable with hockey because us three, we don't know anything with hockey. And we'll add the next guy, Mr. Beelan, knows nothing with hockey.
Yeah, he knows. That kid knows the stuff.
So he's good. And again, we're now talking about stuff. Look at this. Look at this. I don't know where this is going to go tonight, but look at this.
We saved the best for last tonight. It's Venting Wednesday, so it's time, boys. We're starting with Bronco Mania, and then we're going to finish with college football tonight.
All right, I'm gonna
quick shout out to our other two interns, Kurt. Please.
Yeah. Again, Olivia Olivia's doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. She's doing a lot of stuff for our podcasting stuff. She's working on stuff for the high school show where she's doing a lot of our databases. But again, she's mainly doing a lot of our podcast stuff, getting that stuff up Google Music, Spotify, Apple Music, TuneIn Radio, all that kind of stuff. And also Rachel, who does all our previews and stuff, like who we have on our shows, and we're going to be working on intro videos and stuff like that. So the interns are doing an awesome job.
Well, I got homework for you to give to the interns that do the graphics. I loved our original intro with Sis's voiceover.
Yeah.
Well, he stinks. And we have Sis's there. I want something like that with Beelan, Sis, me, you, Jenny Hoops.
We'll get it
Carson.
done.
We gotta get a little intro for our shows. Joey Clams, we gotta get
we'll
somebody.
Get it done.
Get that done. That's the homework I'm giving you, Kurt.
They're on it. All right, Briggsy Bronco Mania. I'm going to make this 3 minutes and 3 minutes short. The coaching staff was an absolute disgrace in Pittsburgh. You had a guy, they had the worst offense in the league, Big Ben, and you made them, you made him look like Big Ben from 3 years ago. Again, overpaid. You're paying the secondary. They couldn't cover Chase Claypool. They didn't even have Juju. He got knocked out. Sis's boy, Najee Harris, had 120-something yards rushing. They couldn't stop it. First play of the game on offense, let's get into Pat Shurmur. First play of the game, you have a delayed, you have a delay game. How can you have a delay game? Since Wednesday, you knew the play they were running. You get a delay a game? Absolute joke. I was texting Beelan today. Listen, I can't wait for this Teddy Bridgewater era to get it over with. Seriously, just get it over with. Somebody on Denver radio 2 weeks ago. Well, look at Teddy. It's going to cost 3 years for $100 million. Are you out of your mind? Absolutely not. I want Rodgers or Wilson next year. Get the Teddy era over. I want Fangio out. I want Shurmur out. I want next year, new quarterback, new head coach, and keep the defense the way it is. Keep our young Judy, Hamler, Sutton, Patrick, the two running backs. Get me Russell Wilson. Get me Aaron Rodgers. Get me a coach that's going to work with those guys, and we'll get the defense. Fangio, it's a must win this week. It's a must win. I'm telling you, they don't lose this week. You're going to get calls for Drew Lock. You're going to get people booed. They're going to be getting booed out of their stadium. They must beat Vegas, or their season is over at 3-3. That's my Broncos Briggsy Mania.
I'm going to say something real quick, and then Sis can say whatever he wants to ask Kurt, and then we'll let Beelan go. My question to you, Kurt, is we talked about it with the Giants. Sis, myself, and Paul all said, we don't want Daniel Jones back. It's too soon. Let the guy sit. We're 1-4, and we don't want the guy to come back. I feel you rushed Teddy Bridgewater back from a concussion that he had the week before, and you're giving up on the guy already. One performance. It wasn't terrible in my mind. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't an A+, but it wasn't an F, and you're giving up on the guy?
Again, I'm going to say this one more time. It changes when you talk money and the salary cap, okay? What Teddy Bridgewater is now, listen, Carolina's paying his contract. We're paying, I think, $4 million. They're paying the rest. But you watch that team. Listen, his team is the most talented he's ever had around him. It's not going to get better if you give him money. I'm not giving him $30 million. You're out of your mind. The guy's a backup.
Who's speaking about money? Rocky Mountain Clams? Like, no, I haven't heard anything about a contract with Teddy Bridgewater.
But he's good. But he's a free agent. He's going to be a free agent, so he's going to want that money. We talked the other week. Kenny was saying Daniel Jones, $35 million. I mean, I'm not giving that money. I'm sorry, I'm not. Teddy Bridgewater, everything.
Owen rated quarterbacks, you got to give them the money.
But Kenny, I'm going to say it one more time. Everything has to go right for Teddy Bridgewater to be successful. I watch a guy like Aaron Rodgers. Their defense stinks. They got nobody but Devontae Adams. Nobody on that team. He makes people better. When their defense gives up 40, hey, Aaron, put up 45. All right. Teddy Bridgewater ain't there. Once they're down 10, the game's over. Because It's 3rd and 9. Throw it 6 yards, right, sis? 3rd and 8. Throw it 6 yards. Stop. Stop it. Stop it. I don't want him. I don't want him.
It's all Sis and Beelan. You're double standards right now. You know how you double standards? Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams is all they have. They have no defense. But you're a firm believer that defense wins championships.
It does.
So if Green Bay has no defense, Green Bay's not winning a championship.
The only thing I'll say this one more time. And Sis, as a coach, I bet you he's on my side. When you have a special quarterback, and when I'm going to go back until time, Miami never had a defense. Dan Marino. Denver in the 80s never had a defense. John Elway. Those guys by themselves, 48, 45, it didn't matter. Those guys can do it. Mahomes can do it. You're seeing what's going on with Mahomes, right? No defense, no run game. He ain't Mahomes anymore. It's over with the Tyreek Hills over the top. That's over. They stopped it. Fangio and Bowles stopped it. They stopped it. Now he has to go play by play. It doesn't work anymore. Okay?
Let's hear what Sis has to say about this. Anything, Sis?
Well, again, I've been listening to his your friend's Denver Rocky Mountain show there. Those guys they're pretty realistic, and I mean Kurt brings up good points. Here's the problem, and I agree with the guys from Denver. You need a whole new coaching staff, and you need a quarterback. That's a tall order.
Yep.
To get next year, that's a big order.
And again, you got to look at it where it's like, okay, he's cheap. He's what you have now. You don't know what you have in lock. He's cheap. But I am sorry. I'm not losing Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, Cortland Sutton for Teddy Bridgewater. Hell no. Hell no. He's the last piece of the puzzle making no money. Otherwise, ship him out and go get one of the big guns. Ship him out. He is not worth that money. Think about it. Why did Carolina is paying Denver to get him out of there. They're paying him. Think about
They're not paying him. It was part of his contract.
Right, but I'm saying the trade part, the trade was, I think he makes, say, $18 million. They're paying $14 million of it.
Yeah, because that's part of his deal. That's part of his signing bonus. So regardless of whatever it is, that has nothing to do with Carolina. That's just how it was structured, and they didn't need Teddy Bridgewater.
Why didn't Carolina keep him?
Because they traded for Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. So if you're, I don't want him.
You go get Aaron.
Hold on. The first 3 weeks, Sam Darnold and Teddy Bridgewater were lights out. Now all of a sudden, everybody's saying 2 games that Teddy Bridgewater can't play. He's no good. Darnold past 2 games, all of a sudden he's falling apart. He's like the old Jet guy again. Like what? You Bronco fans sound like new age Yankee fans. All of a sudden something goes wrong. We need the best quarterback in the league.
We do.
Who in their right mind is coming to Denver?
Aaron Rodgers will.
You know what the problem is, in my opinion? You guys haven't had a good quarterback since Peyton Manning. So that's why you are down. You went 3-0. There was no problems with Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy's our guy. Teddy's our guy. Everybody was saying Teddy's our guy.
All riding the horse.
Your problem, in my opinion, and a lot of Bronco fans, is your defense. You let Ben Roethlisberger and that quarterback who's can't throw the ball anymore and a rookie running back destroy your defense.
Yeah.
Destroy you.
Yep. Yeah.
Not Teddy Bridgewater's fault on the defense.
Nope.
All right, my last thing before we get to college football, Kenny. So again, tomorrow, deadline, 3-100. Signing Teddy Bridgewater?
Not giving him $100 million. No.
Ridiculous.
Okay.
I'm giving him $30 million.
A year? A year?
Yes.
Nope. No way. Nope. He's a backup. Nope. No
and
way.
how much are backups making?
I don't care. I don't want. Sis, are you giving Teddy Bridgewater $30 million a year?
Kenny's got a point.
You were
know,
giving hold on. You were giving him $30 million before week 4 started.
No, absolutely
Yeah,
not.
you
got-
were.
you
Because
got
you were.
backup.
I told you.
Feeling that wasn't.
Hold on.
I'll give him that.
Because this is what happened. They went 3-0. He's riding the horse all for him. And what I say on the show, you can go back on the shows. You guys are, when you guys play real teams, you guys are going to shit the bed, okay? And you guys are going to lose 4 straight and possibly 6 straight.
But why are we
Let's
losing?
just
But
go.
why? If we have Teddy
Because
let's
your
just
Bridgewater,
go.
defense
Let's
is
just go.
overrated
Let's have
every
some-
single year.
Just had something you wanted to
Go ahead,
say. Let's
sis. I'm
get
sorry.
Sis's response.
No, it's all good. You know, you talking. There's no argument. The backup quarterbacks, which to me is ridiculous, are making $30 million. So if the backup quarterbacks are making that, and Bridgewater looks like to be your quarterback now, they're going to give him $30 million.
I don't think
Thank
they
you.
are.
I mean, I wouldn't.
Was-
I would want Rodgers or Russell Wilson, but like I said earlier,
You want to know what I would do, Kurt?
Pat Schumer, excuse me, Kenny. Pat Schumer was terrible when he was at the Giants.
Thank you,
He
sis.
he cannot call plays.
Yep.
He cannot motivate it. And you brought up the best point of the night. We both coached high school, whatever. Practice Wednesday. What's the first play of the game?
Right. How do you not know?
How do you go
That's
off track?
disgraceful.
Wait, who signed Pat Shermer?
Vic Fangio.
Fangio did.
Who signed off on it?
Vic Fangio.
John Elway. Go blame everything
Oh
on John
yeah, that
Elway.
way. Yeah, no, he's
Go
right
blame
there.
everything on John Elway. Now all of a sudden you don't want your coach. Now you want to
Nope.
go out for one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That's your
my-
answer.
My
Come
very
on.
last thing for Kurt.
That's everybody's answer.
This would be me, Kurt. This is me speaking. This is what I would do. I would try and get Teddy Bridgewater for 2 years, 2 more years, 30 million, but you're drafting a quarterback next year. You're not going to get an agent Aaron Rodgers where you got to trade your whole team away. You're not getting a Russell Wilson who's starting to decline a little bit, in my opinion. You're getting a rookie quarterback, and you're going to do something that you haven't done in 20 years since John Elway, 30 years. And
Who?
that's draft
But
get
Kenny,
a quarterback
Kenny,
in the draft.
who? They stink. Sam Howell? Who? Seriously. You want
There's
Rattler?
no good
You want?
quarterbacks coming out, Kenny.
There's nobody coming out. I'm not wasting a pick on
Trevor
those
Lawrence
guys.
looks good.
Huh?
Who?
Trevor Lawrence looks good.
Well, listen, Trevor
No.
Lawrence, again, that's the struggle. These guys are none
I'm
of
just
these
saying,
guys.
Zach Wilson looks good.
None of these guys in the
Trey Lance looks
in the
good.
draft. None of these guys will ever be starting quarterbacks in the football. This draft coming up. It's terrible.
I would take the Mississippi kid, not number 1 or number 2. I would take him in the middle of the first round.
You mean the Ole Miss kid?
Because he played Alabama, sis. Hey, look what
I'm
else
saying
he
you
did
said
against
Mississippi.
Arkansas.
You said Mississippi. I'm
hey,
saying
your
the Ole Miss.
Broncos. You know who your Broncos should go draft? My boy at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You want a gunslinger?
Well, that's the perfect segue to college football.
Let's go.
Let's go.
There's
Anything else,
no
Broncos?
rookie quarterback going to Denver that's going to turn that franchise.
Right. No, they're not.
Dream.
By
They
the
need
way,
a veteran.
I would love to get on your boys' Rocky Mountain Oyster show. I want to get on this show with these
You
guys.
can go
man.
on.
You can go on, Beelan. You can
I'll
go
give
on.
you the information.
Oh
I'll give
my
you the
God.
information.
Hey, they're going to be on tomorrow morning, John. You're around, you're working.
Yeah,
You'll
no, I'll
have,
do it.
you'll have to pay for the information, but I'll
11:30 our time.
There you go,
I
sis.
got to know.
I'll let you not cut my grass anymore. Okay.
Yeah, okay, then we're even. Okay.
Me and you will
Yeah.
go on the show tomorrow with them. We'll have a little fun tomorrow morning if you're around.
I'm not talking college football tonight, so I'll see you later.
Perfect way
I'm
to
just
end the
kidding.
show
Just
tonight.
kidding.
College football. Last week, the shakeup at the top. Our new top 4: Georgia,
Terrible.
Iowa, Cincinnati, Oklahoma. Let's start with,
That's your top 4?
no, that's the AP top.
Okay.
I'm going to start with Sis in all fairness, and then I'll go to Kurt, myself, and Beelan. I want his thoughts on the Alabama game. We'll start with that.
They stink.
It's all good. Totally outplayed, totally outcoached, believe it or not. That's hard for me to say about Saban, but he got outcoached. Um, there's not much to say. They got beat, and now it's, will they get beat again? They might. From what I see, they might, because I seen too many, and I didn't see this in the last 2 years with the defense. There's too many guys walking around. They're not running to the ball. They're like half dogging it. The chemistry with this team is definitely not. Saban said it himself. I listened to his show the other night, and he's not fooling himself. And the reason why I love this guy is because he said, "Hey, Mississippi State, Auburn, Arkansas, all these kids are on scholarships. These are good players. These are good teams. Texas A&M's got a good team. I don't care if they're ranked or not. They got a hell of a they woodshedded Alabama. They beat them up like they were Pop Warner kids. They whooped them, man. And again, one thing about me, I'm realistic, man. I'll be an Alabama fan through and through, but I'm not going to sit here and say to myself, "Oh, they should have beat Texas A&M." No, they shouldn't have. And again, if they lose again, will I be surprised? Probably, because I'm not going with, like, I'm on this other Alabama thing, and everybody on that post is, "Well, you remember in 2012, Texas A&M beat them, and then M won the championship." Then we go back to, at his 7 championship rings, okay? There's only 2 out of the 7 that they were undefeated. All those other games, they had a loss. Do I think they're going to run the table? Maybe. And here's the problem. You still got to play Georgia. My top 4 teams for this week, I can't see Alabama dropping a 5. Sorry, I don't agree with anybody that thinks that. This is my opinion. It's Georgia, Iowa, Bama, and Cincinnati. Next 2 out, Michigan and Penn State. That's
Kurt, in about a minute or less, you want to add anything to Bama? And then I got another topic for you.
Yeah. Again, I'll get to this where, when we get to, again, this is why I don't get so crazy over polls right now, because there's a lot of teams that, the word, like
jockeying for position.
No, yeah, jockeying position, but they control their own destiny. Like Alabama controls their own destiny. Alabama wins out, they're a lock to go. Okay,
correct.
Oklahoma wins out, they're a lock to go. Iowa
Right.
wins out, they're a lock to go. We'll get into the Cincinnati factor, but they do not control their own destiny. Yes, they're number 3. They're number 3 on my board today. But if Bama wins out, Bama jumps them. Penn State wins out, they jump them. Another Big Ten team jumps them. If Oregon wins out, they jump them. So today's rankings don't mean anything. But
it's October.
I was going to get into rankings, Kurt. I was asking about the Bama game first.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Bama game, I'm going to be honest. Bama switched from a little of, and Bama never does this. They're getting into that, when you watch the Ole Miss game, or even last year, what was it? Pound them. Now we're getting, let's throw it 60. And you know what? It burned them up to you-know-what. Because you don't win like that. Come out, run it down your throat, play with your defense. And you know what? They got away from it. They got burned. I will tell you this. This week they're playing who? Mississippi State?
Yep.
No, Mississippi State, right, sis? I can guarantee you're going to see 45 runs, not the gimmick. You're going to see pound, and they're going to do that the rest of the way because they realize that's what cost them that game.
All right, so my next question for Kurt, and then I'm going to go to Beelan with he can add to Bama and my next question here, and then I got another topic for him. And then we're going to finish with the AP top 10 rankings to see if we agree with them. So no talking about rankings until we'll finish with the rankings. You were stated on the air last week, Kurt, and for weeks, that your Auburn Tigers were going to beat either Georgia or Alabama. Do you still go by that statement?
I will say this.
Well, yes or no, real quick, and then I'll let you go. Yes or no with that statement?
Yeah. Yes.
Then Bama will not be in the playoff by that statement.
Okay, but let me answer
But
this though.
let's get into the Auburn Georgia game. What happened in that game?
Okay, Georgia, I will agree with Mr. Beelan on this. I had the wrong team number one, and Mr. Sis said it to me in a text. Georgia is the best team in football by far. Why? Because their defense is unbelievably ridiculous, and Georgia, once they got up by 10, and me and Sis were talking about it, what did they do? Mr. Bennett said, run left, run right, run left, 4, 4, 4. They can't stop it. So running that ball and that defense. Listen, they're the best team in football.
When you're up by 25 points in the halftime, you're gonna run the ball.
They weren't up by 20. They were up by 10.
You're gonna run the ball. Like it's common sense. Like you wouldn't throw the ball. Like at the end of the day, the difference between Georgia and Bama, like you said, it's the defense.
Yeah.
Bama's defense is not good. I'm not saying not good. It's not up to Bama's par. That's what it's not there. So Georgia's the best team in the league in the
college football,
the whole conference. Okay, in the conference, then the whole rankings. Okay, I personally do not see them losing the rest of the year. I really do see them winning the championship, and I think they're just going to be pounding people all day. That defense is just, and honestly, Auburn shouldn't even score that touchdown. It's like they gave it to them. Okay, so in reality, it should have been like 3 points in that whole game because I was waiting for the shutout the whole time. But I mean, going back to where they are, honestly, I don't think Bama should be 5. I don't even think Oklahoma should be 4. Oklahoma should be like 9. You know, they're just terrible. I don't get it. I was shocked when it came out. I was Texas 6.
I got the rankings here. We're gonna get to that in a minute.
Yeah. It's
so
just.
I guess my next question, I go to. Well, let's see. Who do I want to go? So Bama, in your minds, will not be in the playoff, Kurt, if Auburn beats Bama.
Yeah.
No,
they can't be. They can't be. They have 2 losses.
But I'm going to tell you this, and
but according to Kurt, they should.
But I'm going to tell you,
my thing on Bama. My thing, real quick on Bama, was, and I said this at the beginning of the year, and they're an awesome team, But I felt, even though they reload every year, this was the year that they had to replace stars after star after star. A couple years ago, Joe Burrow, Edward Hilaire, Justin Jefferson, just to name a couple. This year may be Georgia's year. Bama had to replace Mac Jones.
They got 5 starters in the NFL.
Najee Harris.
They got a total of 72 pros out of that program in 15 years since Saban's there. Who else can claim that?
No, I'm just saying, it's just that these kids last year were special.
Oh, no doubt. But you know what the problem is? Everybody, these writers and TV guy, everybody expects, and I said this to Kurt a couple of weeks ago, everybody expects Bama every week to come out, and by the quarter, they're up by 30 and the game's over. It doesn't happen that way because of your point you just brought up. They get graduated.
But that's what Bama gives off. It's no different than the Yankees.
No. That's what, and Paul Feinberg said this, John. That's what people's expectations give off.
Of course.
But not even me. I'm realistic. I didn't think I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't think they'd lose to Texas A&M. I was worried about Auburn and Arkansas, not Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. I didn't think they were going to breeze through the whole year. I really didn't. I'm being straight with you. And again, if they lose to one of these other teams, they're not going. They shouldn't go. Cincinnati or one of these other teams, Iowa, who's undefeated, in my opinion, I'm being straight as a coach and a fan, put the teams in that are undefeated and let somebody else go to the party. I said this 2 weeks ago, and I'll say it again. If Georgia doesn't win it this year, they'll never win it. Their team is loaded. Special teams, everything. They got it all. They're the Bama of last year, this year.
Let's do this. Let's do this real quick, Kurt. I got the top. I did 11. There's 11 teams on this top 11, minus Georgia. Georgia's number 1. Everybody agrees with that. Iowa number 2. We all agree Iowa should be number 2 right now, right? I'm going to take that as a yes,
Yeah.
gang.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I'll start with Sis. Cincinnati's ranked number 3. Should they be 3 or a little lower?
They should be 4.
Okay. So you got them still in the top 4 right now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Kurt.
Again, my rank. You're giving me the rankings for today,
No,
right?
no. I'm saying, do you agree with them at number 3 this week in the AP Top 25? Not your rankings. Do you agree with what they have?
Yes.
So do I. Beelan.
Yes.
Beelan, Oklahoma, number 4.
No.
I agree with Beelan. Where would you put them? You said number 9?
9.
I got them a little higher. I got them at like 7. Sis.
I agree with John. They should be about 8 or 9.
Kurt.
I think they should be 4. Right. Again. Right now. Right now they're number 4. Yes.
Okay.
But now means nothing. Now means nothing.
Now means nothing. I'm just seeing how many we agreed on right now.
Oh,
I'll show you why I'm doing this, because here's where it's going to get interesting. And this is where I don't agree with the top 25 or the top 10. We're going to get into this. But go ahead. You want to say something, John?
Yeah. I mean, Kurt, do you realize that Oklahoma beat Tulane by 5, beat Nebraska by 6, beat West Virginia by 3, Kansas State by 3, Texas by 6,
And give up how many points
in the nation?
And gave up at least 30 points in every game.
For now, you have to rank them like that for now.
Out there. Here's where it gets interesting. I'm going to start Bama. I talked to Sis before the show. I'm moving them up to 4 right now. Like Kurt says, right now. They're number 4 in my mind. They were number 1. They lost to a team that was ranked number 5 at the beginning of the year. You all forget that. So Bama's still number 4 in my mind. Kurt.
Bama 5.
Bama 5. Beelan.
Ohio State.
And I'm going to get into that in a minute, because this might be the first time I disagree with you all night. Sis, Bama.
You're asking me what now?
Alabama 5. Do you agree with that or disagree?
No, I don't. I think they're better than 5.
I do
Even
too.
right now.
I do too.
Even right now.
Ohio State is 6. And John thinks they should be a little higher. But where I have a problem with that, John, is Penn State, who's right below them, lost on the road, who, in my opinion, and I think Kurt's opinion, and I don't know your opinion, Sis or Beelan, I think they had a good shot of beating Iowa before that quarterback got hurt for Penn State.
No doubt about it.
And Penn State lost on the road to a rival, Iowa. Ohio State lost to an Oregon team at home. And they blew out Rutgers and Maryland the last 2 weeks, 2 overachieving teams early, in my opinion, in the Big Ten. That's where I think Penn State should be ahead of Ohio State. Kurt and Sis, what do you think on Ohio State, Penn State, 6 and 7?
I don't think Ohio State should be ranked above Oregon. Oregon beat them, so you've seen it, heads up, so they should go higher. Personally, I have Penn State 6 because I agree with you. They were beating and outplaying Penn State with Iowa with their quarterback.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm putting Penn State there. But again, it's all going to work out. You're going to see Penn State, Ohio State. The winner stays, the loser goes.
Well, I know. I'm just saying, do you agree with this right now? Because here comes Michigan below both of these teams, yet they're undefeated, guys.
So, here, just real quick, I like Michigan. I think they're gonna get a hiccup. It's probably gonna be like Penn State or Michigan State. They're probably gonna give them a little hiccup. But going back to Ohio State with Oregon real quick, Kurt, Oregon lost to Stanford, who's not even ranked.
Right, but head to head comes first.
Ranked teams, I give you more advantage over a ranked team than a non-ranked team.
But head to head comes first. You just put Bama up high. Why'd you Texas A&M's not ranked?
Yeah, well, they weren't ranked, but I'm just saying. But Bama played a good game with them. I mean, it was high. I think the reason they got kicked out, it was because it was high scoring. I think if it was in the lowers, if it was like 23,
But people
20
could,
or whatever,
but John, but people could also argue because I watched that whole game and the refs screwed Oregon. They had two personal fouls, something with the clock. So you can look at it like that.
There's holding calls, there's this in games,
right? But I'm
in
saying
games, it happens.
Well, here's where I have more of a problem. You got Michigan below Ohio State and Penn State, yet they're undefeated. Just for now, this is what the AP has right now. This is not what we think. But Michigan's below Ohio State and Penn State. Oregon is below Ohio State. Yet, like Kurt said, I agree with him. Oregon lost on the road. They didn't lose a game at home. Oregon went and beat Ohio State, which is impossible according to everybody.
Blew them out.
No.
And then here's where I have the problem too. 10 and 11, of course, since Michigan State. And here's a problem I have. An undefeated Kentucky team, yes, I know they're playing Georgia this week, should be in the top 10. An SEC team, best conference in the league by far, and you got them ranked at 11, even though they beat Florida and LSU the last 2 weeks.
All right, I just got a scenario for you, Kenny, okay? And this is where...
Should Kentucky, well, my last thing, shouldn't Kentucky be ranked higher than Oregon or these one-loss
But it's
teams?
not going to matter because if Kentucky beats Georgia at Georgia, they're going to be a top 5 team. But
Well, if Kentucky beats Georgia at Georgia and they're undefeated, why aren't they number 1?
I don't think they'll go to number 1, but they're going to be a top 5, so it
problem.
doesn't matter.
That's the problem I'm having. We're making the argument of undefeated team head-to-head. Kentucky's undefeated and Georgia's undefeated. If Kentucky beats number 1 and they're both undefeated,
Iowa goes to number 1.
Right, Iowa goes to number 1. I agree with
that, but Kentucky should.
They're not going to, though. They're not
They
going
beat
to.
Florida, LSU, and Georgia.
The only way Kentucky goes number 1 if they blow them out like 50-0.
Right, which it's not
They're
going
not
to
going
happen.
to jump. Yeah, they're not going to jump from where they are
All
now.
joking aside, I don't think they're going to win. They're 23-point underdog, which is a lot of points.
But see, but Kenny, here's the thing, like, and this is what I've been saying. A lot of these teams, except Cincinnati, control their own destiny. It's like people think Cincinnati's in 3. If they just win, they go. No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't.
Why Cincinnati should not be there?
Because I'm gonna tell you right now.
We discussed this.
Okay, let me just tell you this right now. Next week it's Florida and Georgia, right? I'm just gonna throw out a scenario. Florida beats Georgia. Okay? Florida beats Georgia. Florida wins the SEC East. They either beat Alabama or another team. You know what? They're in. Georgia, 1 loss. They're in. So those two, Florida, no one's even talking about them. They jump Cincinnati. Georgia jumps Cincinnati. They're both there.
Put Florida in with 2 losses, Kurt. They lost to Kentucky.
But they're still. But if they're
Kentucky.
SEC champs, but the SEC champs are going to go.
That's mind-boggling. That makes no sense.
Of course it does. You're the best conference. That their person.
Who cares if you're the best conference? It doesn't matter. That
If
doesn't mean
they're the
you
best
make the
conference,
playoffs
why is
automatically.
Kentucky ranked 11 and they're undefeated if it's the best conference?
It's not going to matter. Again, Oklahoma controls. If Oklahoma wins out, they go before Cincinnati. Whoever's the Big Ten champ is going to go before Cincinnati. If Oregon runs the table, they're going to go for Cincinnati. Cincinnati is there, but they have to first off, and I said this again, they have to have Notre Dame win out. You can't be saying my best win is against an 8-3 Notre Dame team. That's not going to help. They have to be a top 10 team, Notre Dame, for Cincinnati to go. But
they beat them. They beat them defeated, not at the end of the year.
Doesn't matter. That's
At
what the
home.
true team is.
At home, they beat them at home, undefeated at home.
It's not going to matter. Penn State.
Who cares what they do the rest of the year? They can shit the bed the rest of the year. You're gonna blame Cincinnati for the rankings because they shit the bed.
I don't blame Cincinnati for anything.
You are.
I don't blame them for anything. I just know that.
You are. You're saying that their best win is against Notre Dame and they lost. They beat them at home in their own grill. They beat them undefeated at home.
So let me ask you this because we got like 3 minutes. Beelan, I'm ask Sis first. Sis, if Cincinnati wins out the rest of the game and they play absolutely nobody next, they're saying SMU, who stinks. They lucky beat Navy. But if they win out, Do you think
And
they're
Oklahoma
automatically
barely
in,
beat
sis?
Tulane. What's the difference?
Sis, are they automatically and
Yeah.
Cincinnati going to automatically go?
I couldn't hear you. Kenny was
If
saying something. Say that again.
Cincinnati's right now number 3, if they win out, and it doesn't matter what Florida and Georgia and Alabama, Cincinnati just isn't a lock to go. Like, if Georgia wins out, they're a lock to go. If Iowa wins out, they're a lock to go. Oklahoma wins out, they're a lock to go. Cincinnati's not in that boat. You got to worry about
Okay.
Alabama,
Okay.
Penn
Here's
State,
here's a good
Oregon.
example. So you're saying Oklahoma's win till today was last week against Texas, and that's the only ranked team they're going to play all year.
Well, they're going to play
So
Iowa
what's your
State.
point? What's your point?
They're going to play Iowa State, and they're going to play in a Big 12
Iowa
championship game.
State, they lost two games already.
My point is, Kurt, you cannot come after and say SMU barely beat Navy, because if you're going to say that, Oklahoma barely beat Tulane.
But Kenny, is
There's no
SMU
buts. There's
is
no
SMU a top team?
Doesn't
Seriously,
matter.
it
They're
doesn't matter.
blowing out their conference. They're blowing people out in the conference, and not even just the conference. Everybody out, they're blowing them out.
You know what would be my dream scenario? Is joking.
This is why it's got to go to an 18 playoff.
See,
You know
I
what you're
disagree with that.
talking about
I
tonight.
disagree with that because you know why, sis? Here's why. Kenny, real quick. Sis just mentioned the 8 plaintiff, and I was telling this to Jen the other day. Who's the biggest team? Who's the biggest name in college football, sis? Who's the biggest name?
Right now it's Georgia.
But I still think it's Alabama, right? They're the biggest headline.
Okay.
If Alabama loses one more game, they're done. They're done. They're done.
Right.
If there was an 8 team, they're locked in.
Wait,
Alabama now cannot lose, and that's what makes college football so
Hold
good.
on. Wait, Alabama's done if they lose 2, but Clemson would be in if they're had 2
Clemson's not in.
losers?
I'm not. Clemson can't be in. Clemson's not going
Last
to
week
be
you
in.
said they were in.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
last
saying
week
to you,
you had them in last
I'm
week.
saying to you, Clemson to me is better than all those teams because I watched their
they're not.
defense, what their defense did to Georgia. Oklahoma's not going to do that to Georgia. Cincinnati's not going to do that to Georgia.
They
They're
lost
not.
to they lost to NC State.
Right, but no way.
Kurt, my last thing. I forgot what I was going to say. Now. You all wound up.
beat Boston College.
My dream scenario,
Oh,
if they don't get Cincinnati in the top 4, would be for Cincinnati to play Auburn and just destroy them in the bowl.
oh.
If
Let-
they don't
all right.
get in, that's what I want to see. And
All
all I
right,
hear
all
you
right.
say-
Here's my last comment for the night.
My last thing is because Kurt, you cannot say Auburn wasn't playing because they weren't in the playoff like Georgia last year. You
If
can't
that
say it.
happens, Kenny, I will buy a Cincinnati jersey for Kurt to wear and cut my grass in a tutu.
Here's my last.
Yeah.
Here's my last statement, and this is where I'm going to put every one of you on the spot, and I'm going to start with Sis. If Cincinnati does get in, and we're going to talk about this later, but if they do get in, and we see a 45-3 victory, my opinion, those conferences never even get mentioned again. Sis, do you agree or disagree?
No. Truthfully, if that happens, that's exactly what's going to happen.
I mean, never like
They're gonna
if
get blown
UCF,
out.
right? If UCF next year's UCF, just don't even mention them. Put them in the JV tournament. Just they can't go in that tournament. Kenny, do you disagree or agree?
You want to know why?
Why?
What happened a few years back? Bob Stoops and the mighty Oklahoma Sooners. Boise State beat them, didn't they?
But a playoff. Those
That
games
was-
don't count. They don't
How's a Fiesta Bowl don't count?
because
in the
they don't
college
look.
football
All right.
playoff at the
They
time.
get paid. They get money.
All right, so I'm going to say one more time. I'm going to take Alabama. We're going to take Georgia. I'm going to take Florida. And if those teams do not make the playoffs, watch how many guys do not play in that game. Florida will be 12 guys are sitting out. And Cincinnati's sitting going, all right, we got Florida this week, and they still lose to a team without 12 starters, like they did to Georgia last year. Oh, we'd almost beat Georgia. Georgia didn't play half their guys. Come on. You should win by 3 touchdowns. They don't have their guys.
Let's do this, or we'll be here till midnight. Let's get Kurt's top 4 and his next 2, 5 and 6.
My top 4. Georgia, Iowa, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, Alabama 5, Penn State 6.
I'll go next. I got Georgia, Iowa, Cincinnati. I'm throwing Bama in at 4. You're going to laugh at my 5 and 6. They're moving up fast because they're both undefeated. Michigan, Kentucky. That'll probably change when Kentucky loses to Georgia. But if Kentucky can somehow pull off an upset, that's why they're number 6 this week. Sis.
Georgia, Iowa, Bama, Cincinnati, Michigan, Penn State.
Phelan.
Georgia, Iowa, Cincy, Bama, Ohio State, Michigan.
Let's see how this changes next week. I'm sure there'll be some new
development. Definitely going to change by next week. No doubt about it.
Yep.
After Kentucky beats Georgia.
All right, Mr. Kirkpatrick, final
underdog.
thoughts.
It's a live underdog there.
They ain't going to beat Georgia. No way.
Closing thoughts, Mr. Valenti.
My closing thoughts is this.
You do the order.
All right, Florida, I'll go first. Florida, Kentucky, nice story. But the only thing they're going to be singing is, how do they do it in the Derby, sis? My old Kentucky home. Just, they're going on the road. Georgia's going to blast them just like they blasted Arkansas. It's going to be a joke. So, Kenny, let me just do you a favor. You have them in top 8. You'll have them number 18 next week. There's going to be no shot they win. No shot. I'm pumped up for this weekend's football, and I'm pumped up for Friday night, Beelan. Heights, Becton. Let's go. Kenny, you're next.
Can have them at number 18, but you know what? They'll still be higher ranked than Auburn.
For now.
All joke aside, let's go Giants tomorrow over the Dodgers and Beelan's Braves. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, Beelan.
Next week we'll get into a little baseball, John.
October.
Do some baseball.
Braves are on fire.
We'll do some baseball next week. Yeah, that's my final thoughts. Thank you to Paul Rosen again, Giants each week, and Daniel for coming on, talking some hockey with us. Great job interning. And Beelan, always a pleasure. And Mr. Sis, you get the final words of the night.
Oh, no, Beelan didn't talk.
Oh, yeah, Beelan first and then Sis. Yep.
I'm kind of upset I didn't go head-to-head with Kurt tonight about Dak Prescott, and because I had everything written down in my notebook over here.
It's okay. You can save it.
You can save it. Save it. Hold on to it.
All right, I'll hold on to it.
Because I want to listen to that. Yeah, I want to listen to that.
These rankings will change next week. Even be better.
Yeah, I want to listen to that one for sure.
And Mr. Sis's final thoughts.
Great show. Kid Daniel did a great job. He was a little nervous, you can tell, but he held his ground. And I like the debating. It's very good. But again, people are getting all, and this is all I'm going to say for tonight, people are getting all bent out of shape. Who's number 1? Who's number 5? It's October 13th.
Tomorrow.
Let's see in December, going into January, like where everybody stands. There's a lot of football left to play, man. There really is. So that's my closing thoughts.
All right.
And the last thing, Wits and Wagers tomorrow night will be another epic show because it's going to be some money makers this weekend, guaranteed.
Beelan, real quick, last thing, and I promise we'll go. Beelan, real quick, Kenny's excuse that he doesn't go to Huntingtown Northern on Friday.
Oh, he's gonna be babysitting the husky.
Yeah. And what's Kurt's excuse for not going to Heights?
We are going.
He twisted.
Kenny, you didn't give out the
Kenny,
you didn't give out the standings last week.
What happened?
You didn't give out
Jen, I can't get the raviolis.
You didn't give out the college or the pro standings last week.
That's on
What was
Kenny.
that?
The pro or college standings. You forgot
We'll have
to
them
do
tomorrow.
that.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll do it on Winston Wagers.
No, you didn't do it last week.
Last week? All right, I got last week's.
Yeah,
I'll do
you
them. I
got.
got them written
So I'm
down.
just reminding you. This way you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
2 weeks.
We
to catch
did
up.
forget that last week. Good job.
It's
I got
okay.
it.
It's not the end of the world.
No, I got it. I got him now.
Beelin's in last place. I'm not worried about it.
Beelan, are you around tomorrow?
Might be.
6 to 8 or 6 to 7?
I might be.
We need a
Beelan.
guest picker for NFL, but if you
Beelan.
want to come on.
Hey, Kenny, we're calling it now. Next week, me and Beelan, 7 minutes, a Dak debate. We just go.
Oh
at it.
yeah, for
Let's
sure.
go.
I
Let's
want
go.
to see
All
that.
right.
All right, we
Let
got to
me know
go.
tomorrow. I'll text you during the day if you can
Put
come
that
on.
in your
I'll try to
segment.
be a picker. If not, I'll get somebody else.
Have a good
Yeah,
night,
and
boys.
let me know about Rocky Mountain clams.
Tomorrow
got it.
morning, are you around in the morning?
What time?
Our time, it's going to be 11:30, I think.
That's fine.
We'll go on Rocky Mountain. I'll write till tonight. See
And
you.
I'll
Let me
watch
know.
you on Rocky Mountain tomorrow at school.
Yeah, let's go.
All right,
me know.
boys.